unbelievable runs, and then they've fallen away. Last season they fell away and missed out on the Champions League position. There's always that fear, I think, in the back of a lot of fans' minds that may happen again. I just think this is a very different Arsenal side. Yeah, okay, they may not win the league this season, but they've had an unbelievable season up until this point. I still think they'll go far. I think they'll push, City all the way. They're obviously in the box seat. They're 5 points clear. They've got everything to play for, and I think they're more than capable of playing on both fronts. And we've seen in the past, Manchester United, Chelsea have both gone in the Europa League and won it. So the big clubs want to be in these competitions. If it's the Europa League, so be it, but they want to win it, and they want to make sure they win it. And Arsenal, for me, is no different. They have to go on and win this competition.
Let's carry on our theme of the Goalkeepers Union, because it's a second season at the Emirates for goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, who's been one of the star performers in Arsenal's title challenge. I caught up with him early in the week, and he told me how he wants to become a legend at the Emirates.
This is a place now where I can see myself for 10, 12, 15 years, and that's the aim, that's the goal, that's the aim, to stay at the top for that amount of time, and hopefully never have to leave and become a real sort of hero and legend at this football club. How much of a part has the gaffer played in you settling in and you pulling out the performances which have made you a really loved member of the Arsenal squad? Absolutely. From the first sort of phone call, from the first day, he said, be yourself. Don't need anybody to hide behind sort of an image or to shy away from speaking up in changing rooms. So, the first day I came in, thankfully I knew a few of the boys from previous clubs or England and things like that, so I was able to come in and joke straight away, and people see my character, so it definitely allowed me to just express myself on the pitch that first game. Top of the league, absolutely flying. You want to stay there, everyone wants to stay there. How good would it be for you, considering the past few years you've had, to be lifting the Premier League at the end of the season? Yeah, it's a dream come true for everyone, but it just shows you that you get relegations, or you have setbacks as a younger player, that you're not good enough at certain clubs, and then you get relegated and people think you're a bad player. There's been plenty of players before me who've been relegated and won Premier Leagues or Champions Leagues or World Cups, so I won't be the first, but hopefully I can be the next one for some kid to go, you know what, if he can do it, why can't I? So we all want to be at the top, and hopefully we can stay there. Great speaking to Aaron Ramsdale following his win at the London Football Awards on Monday. Mark, I just want to pick this up with you, because on Tuesday morning I woke up to tweets, hundreds and hundreds of tweets from Arsenal fans just waxing lyrical and showing their love for their goalkeeper. But let me take you back to when he signed, and the reaction and the thoughts were very, very different. He has flipped the fan base's views on him on its head.
Yes, he has, and I'm going to hold my hand up and say the same thing. I think it's only natural when you see a goalkeeper that's come from two clubs that have back-to-back relegations. Yes, he had played well in both those occasions, but the step up then from going from a club clubs where you are 90 minutes pretty much involved, you've got probably 10 plus saves to make, but big saves to make per game, you're conceding goals, clean sheets are really hard to come by, to a club where the expectation is to dominate most of the possession, to have more chances than the opposition, and you may only be called into action a couple of times a game. So you've got to be switched on from the moment of that first whistle to the very last, and that's actually more difficult than one would believe. So he's done that really, really well. Interestingly, when you asked him the question about how quickly he settled in, he mentioned Mikel Arteta and how he's made him feel welcome from day one. I think that was very obvious when Mikel Arteta put him in goal very quickly from Bernd Leno. And at the time, I felt for Bernd Leno. I thought it was a little bit harsh. But that's the manager. He makes a decision. He obviously had the belief and the vision that Aaron Ramsdale was more than capable of stepping into those shoes and actually progressing and becoming even better. And he's grown into it. And I think he's been absolutely outstanding. He's deserved all the accolades. He's deserved the opportunity to turn people's heads, to convince people, because that's what you're always doing as a footballer. You're always trying to convince people that you're good enough, and it doesn't matter how often you play, week in, week out. And there's the boring old saying, you're only as good as your last game. And football is such a fickle game, and fans can be very fickle, and they can go from one week to the other, loving you and saying that you're past it. And he's turned people's heads, and he's turned people's opinions, and you've got to take your hat off to it, because he's been brilliant.
Got to talk more about Aaron Ramsdale. We'll do it a little bit later because we've got to dip into the UEFA Conference League. We'll keep you across West Ham, who are in action. They take on the Cypriot side AEK Larnaca in the round of 16 second leg. West Ham are 2-0 up from their first leg. Sahel Sahi is at the London Stadium for us. Hello, Sahel.
Good evening, Aaron. Yes, this should be a relatively straightforward evening for West Ham. 2 goals to the good after the first leg in Cyprus, and the carrot of a second successive quarter-final appearance in Europe is surely too good to squander now. They've won all 9 of their matches in the competition, and their manager David Moyes in his pre-match press conference set the target of going one better than last season and making it through to the final. He's gone strong with his lineup despite making 6 changes, with a front 4 of Bowen, Lanzini, Fornals and Scamacca.
Sahel, thank you, Sahel. We'll keep you up to date with all the action at the London Stadium. West Ham taking on AEK Larnaca. Let's head back to the Emirates, though. Mark Schwarzer alongside Vicky Sparks. I just want to pick up on one point on Aaron Ramsdale, Mark. And you talked about Bert Leno and him being displaced as the #1 goalkeeper at the Emirates. But I watched Aaron Ramsdale 4 years ago in League One. And you see this 20-year-old, skinny as anything, turning up in League One with Wimbledon down the bottom of a relegation scrap. And one thing that I noticed about him was that he was a leader from the back, almost immediately, always shouting, always muttering to himself, shouting at someone. And that's kind of what Arsenal needed. Someone just to drive from the back and get their defence in order.
Yeah, they certainly needed leaders. That's something that I think, pretty much everybody was unanimous in Arsenal's side. You look over the last couple of years that they've sort of lacked that. They've certainly got it now. Mikel Arteta's brought the type of quality players in: Ødegaard, Ramsdale, like you mentioned, Thomas Partey, by his action, Granit Xhaka, Jorginho. There's a list of them now that Arsenal actually have. And Aaron Ramsdale is one that is very vocal. He's someone that very much does like to very much be involved in the game all the time, be very outspoken and animated. And I think it plays to his favour, because sometimes you can overdo it and sometimes it can be a distraction to your own game. But I actually think it enhances his own game. I actually feel that he feels more comfortable with it. It drives him. I remember speaking to him, doing an interview with him and Ben Foster actually, and we talked about that very much, about the vocal side of it and how much he's involved in the game. And he talks his way through the game. He actually talks to himself about the game. He talks to himself about something else, so he doesn't lose his trail of thought. He doesn't want to switch off. He just wants to always be alert, and you can see that by the way he plays the game.
Vicky, I can hear the atmosphere building behind you. That's one thing that has really changed this season at the Emirates. The atmosphere is just ramped up a notch, and it's because they're watching great football on the pitch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mikel Arteta has pointed that out before this game. Again, it's been a while, he says, since Arsenal had a European night like this, with the atmosphere, the excitement, because of course their run to the Europa League semi-finals a couple of seasons ago was largely in front of empty stadiums due to COVID restrictions. There was no European adventure last season, and as we look around at the Emirates, yes, the noise is building. We've got a sold-out away section over just opposite across in the lower tier. That whole corner is green and white. 3,000 Sporting Lisbon fans have travelled from Portugal, but the Emirates is filling up. We can see a few dotted empty red seats. I'd say it's probably about 3/4 full, but I think atmosphere is going to be key. And we talk about, what you were mentioning, your friend Aaron, in terms of the attitude that Arsenal fans have towards this, and the desperation and the desire and the belief that they can win the Premier League title this season. Of course, that's the chief dream, but I suppose the question is, why not dream a little more in Europe as well? And the deeper you go into a competition, the fewer games, of course, it is until a final and potential glory and silverware. And I think that changes the atmosphere as well, and the attitude perhaps amongst fans around it.
Absolutely. I think there's a huge buzz in training as well. In the opening training session ahead of this game, lots was made in the media about how happy everyone looks. Mikel Arteta says they're all really good friends, and they know when it's competition time and when to have fun. He has got it nailed down to a T, Mark, because if they're happy off the field, they're going to be happy on field and working well together.
Yeah, and the happiness off the field comes because of the happiness on the field. So they're all related both ways. They're both equally important to one another. I look back at the times when I had unbelievable runs in Europe with Middlesbrough and Fulham, and they are the happiest moments when you're, as a footballer, you are competing for big trophy, big silverware. And for Arsenal, they've got the double whammy. They've got the Premier League title in their grasp. So they've also got an opportunity to progress in the Europa League, which is obviously a pretty big European trophy up for grabs as well.
So updates from the Europa Conference League to come, but our main event here on 5 Live is Arsenal taking on Sporting Lisbon for a place in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Taking you through this one, the former Fulham and Australia goalkeeper Mark Schwarzer with Vicky Sparks.
Thanks, Aaron. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Emirates. So already this evening on 5 Live, we've heard Manchester United progress to the last stage of the Europa League. Will it be Arsenal? Will it be Sporting Lisbon joining them? Finally poised this one, 2-2 after the first leg in Portugal. And Mark, it was a thrilling game for the neutral. It was an open game for the neutral. I'm not sure Mikel Arteta will want to see, in fact I know Mikel Arteta will not want to see the same openness and the same defending that his side put in Portugal.
No, he won't. I think there were a lot of lessons to be learned from that performance away in Lisbon for Arsenal. Disappointment in terms of the way they defended at times, sloppy goals to concede, but then the positive is the way they reacted, the way that they turned things around. And for Sporting, a side that the pressure for them to win the league is huge in Portugal. They're currently 4th on the table. They're in the Europa Conference position. They're still 5 points away from a Champions League qualification position. So there's so much to play for still, and they've got so much more to offer. So I think this is going to be a really exciting game.
Yeah, as Mark touches on there, it's not been a good domestic season for Sporting. They are unbeaten in their last 7 games. In terms of the team news for Arsenal, the key headline that we've been mentioning on 5 Live this evening, Gabriel Jesus making his first start since the beginning of December. I mean, Mark, it's such an interesting one, isn't it? Because when he picked up that injury at the World Cup, I think a lot of people looked at the first half of the season that he'd had with Arsenal, how he'd impressed since arriving from Manchester City, and thought, they might struggle here. This could be a decisive blow. They've coped brilliantly without him, but it's clearly a huge boost to have him back.
Well, I think that's the positive. The positive is that how well they have coped without him. And now they've got the benefit and the luxury that they've got a player of his quality coming back to full fitness. Tonight is an unbelievable opportunity for him to regain some valuable minutes on the football pitch, to try and really hit his stride and hopefully get back to the form that he showed when he first signed for Arsenal at the beginning of the season, because he's a top-class player when he's on form.
And particularly with Eddie Nketiah out as well, Mikel Arteta saying in the build-up to this one that'll be a few more weeks for him, at least with his ankle injury. In terms of the other players coming in, Reece Nelson, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira and Takahiro Tomiyasu, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, Partey and White, those that dropped to the bench. So Martinelli starting as well. And it's one of those, isn't it, for Mikel Arteta? Yes, as we say, the Premier League is the huge priority. They've got Crystal Palace at home on Sunday before the international break. Yes, it's about managing the squad, but it's one of these where he's got the big guns on the bench if needed. He
does. I mean, he's got some big guns still on the pitch, but he's also got them on the bench, and that's where Arsenal wanted to get to. They wanted to get to a position where they've still got enough strength in depth to compete on a number of fronts, and they've got that now.
So it will be Arsenal to get us underway here at the Emirates. Kicking from left to right, Gabriel Jesus it is, standing on the halfway line in the bright green boots. Arsenal in the traditional home kits, the red and white shirts, the white shorts and the red socks. Sporting in their home kit as well, the striped green and white shirts, the dark shorts and the green and white socks. And we are underway, 2-2 from the first leg. And Arsenal send the ball straight out of play, Sporting with a throw deep inside their own territory. Mark Swanshaw.
I don't think I've ever seen a kickoff like that before, where Gabriel Jesus is on the halfway line, plays the ball directly back to Aaron Ramsdale, who's about 10-15 yards outside his own yard box, and he's the one that hits the diag across to Tomiyasu. So I mean that's a first for me.
Arsenal in possession with Gabriel up to the halfway line and out to the left-hand side they go. Won't be collected by Granit Xhaka, but Arsenal do win the throw over on the far side. The Emirates now pretty much packed to capacity. The atmosphere rising as Xhaka plays it forward, looking for the run of Martinelli. He's well pressured, but does squeeze it out to that left-hand side. And Zinchenko, who plays it downfield, Sporting with a bit of defending to do here, and they do marshal the ball behind. It was a good idea by Zinchenko, but he just raises that left-handed apology. Just a little bit too much strength on the ball there for Martinelli.
Yeah, the interesting is, even though the first game finished 2-2, it all is square. Away goals don't count anymore. So, this game is very much up for grabs for both sides, and they're both going to have to approach this game with a little bit of caution. And I think, if anything, Sporting Lisbon probably have a little bit more of a luxury in terms of the pressure away from home against an Arsenal side that most people will expect to win this game tonight.
But it's good pressure initially from Arsenal. They're putting it on outside the penalty area, and they force the error from Sporting, and they win the throw just inside their own half. Goalless here on 5 Live. Manchester United already through to the Europa League quarter-finals. 5-1 winners over Real Betis on aggregate. 1-0 on the night. Marcus Rashford scoring the goal in the Europa League's early kick-off. Here is Gabriel in possession for Arsenal. Saliba all the way back to Aaron Ramsdale, who takes a touch, closed down well by Paulinho. Playing through the middle for Sporting, who scored in that 2-2 draw in the first leg. And Sporting pick it up outside their own penalty area with Jeremiah Saint-Just, who plays it out to the right-hand side. And the Sporting back three is organised. They're without their captain, Sebastian Coates, the former Liverpool and Sunderland defender, which is a blow for them. Missing a couple of big players, Sporting, although a real bonus for them having their number one, Antonio Adan, that all in dark grey, stands inside his penalty area as Sporting knock the ball around outside their own box and then play it up to the halfway line. Arsenal get the foot in. They try and latch onto it with Fabio Vieira down the right-hand side. He can't control, but Tomiyasu will pick it up and send it back to Saliba.
Yeah, it's a nice little play at the moment from Arsenal, being able to hold possession of the ball. I just say that, and Zinchenko gives the ball away. But both sides are looking to try and close each other down. No one really wants to give the opposition too much space and too much time on the ball. So it's a really compact game at this moment in time.
Sporting in possession. Nice little turn at the back by Gonzalo Inacio. And now Saint-Just once again confidently dinks the ball out to the right-hand side, and Sporting will play it down the line, looking for the run of Paulinho, who can't control, over on that far side, and the ball goes out of play for an Arsenal throw. So Arsenal with Ramsdale in goal, the back four of Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel and Zinchenko. Ahead of them it's Jorginho, Xhaka and Vieira, with Nelson, Martinelli and Jesus up front. And it's fairly fluid at the moment in terms of the role that Fabio Vieira is taking up. At the moment he's dropped back into that midfield three, although he's on the wide right as Arsenal give the ball away. Here is Trincao, the former Wolves man, under pressure from Jorginho, but does well, Trincao. And Sporting forced back to the halfway line. But yes, Vieira has moved up into that three on occasion, as he's doing so now. It seems as though he's been given that free role under Mikel Arteta, just to drift around and try and pull that Sporting back line out of shape as it's given away by Inacio. Gabriel Jesus can't control though, and Saint-Just will send it forward. 0-0, 4.5 minutes gone.
Yeah, both sides need to be really spot on with their passing, because it's so compact the game. They want to both try and close each other down, not give them too much time on the ball. There's a couple of occasions there where they've almost lost possession in dangerous positions.
Here comes Sporting, ball into the penalty area, cleared away by Arsenal, brought down nicely by Ugarte, and out to the right hand side come Sporting once more. Arsenal well marshalled though, getting the red and white shirts back outside their own penalty area. So Sporting are forced all the way back to their centre half. Diamande in the centre circle, and now out to the left-hand side, and Inacio once more. Diamande plays the ball forward. Trincao, nice turn, but can't turn away from Tomiyasu, but Tomiyasu did get a little bit of contact there on Trincao, and it's a free kick to Sporting midway through the Arsenal half, just to the left-hand side. 5 minutes gone, 0-0.
Yeah, it's a bit of an awkward sort of fall there from Tomiyasu. It looks like he's sort of got his boots stuck in the ground. He's just rubbing his knee. Let's hope he hasn't twisted his knee or anything. He lost his footing and sort of ended up colliding with a Sporting Lisbon player. Seems to be okay.
Bayern Leverkusen have taken an early lead on the night against Ferencváros, so that's 3-0. But Leverkusen leads on aggregates here on the night at the Emirates. Goalless 2-2 overall across the tie, and Sporting Lisbon with this free kick midway through the Arsenal half. Gonçalves, one of the players, standing over it. And it will be left by Marcus Edwards for Gonçalves, who plays it to Edwards, left-hand side of the penalty area. Reece Nelson went in, didn't get much of the ball, but Edwards rather lost where it was, and Fabio Vieira gets the foot in and pulls it away. Sporting Lisbon have won it back, though. Mikel Arteta stands on the edge of his technical area, both palms outstretched, arms in the air, as Sporting go all the way back to the halfway line. Is that the universal sign for just calm down a little bit there?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's been a couple of occasions there where Arsenal could have easily cleared the ball, taken it out, overplayed it, lost possession and danger position.
Right ball into the area for Sporting, cleared away by Arsenal up towards the halfway line, and Gabriel Jesus, but Sporting will intercept with Diomande, dinks it forward nicely. Nice little triangles that Sporting are employing, but Ugarte's ball forward looking for Paulinho. He's poor, and it's all the way through with Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, Arsenal at the moment are just a little bit hesitant. They're happy to sit back a bit. You can see Tomiyasu now has gone down.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a twist, and he is holding his knee, so let's hope it's not too bad.
Yeah, frustration here for Arsenal. It was an action by Tomiyasu that gave away the free kick that Sporting rather squandered, but as Mark Schwarzer says, it's the longer-lasting injury concern.
Yeah, we see it on the replay. As he comes in, he just slips. Yeah, it doesn't look great on the replay. It looks like he's really twisted it there, and his studs get stuck in the ground. I mean, he did get up and try and run it off a little bit, but he has gone down, and it didn't look great, that's for sure.
Yeah, he almost does the splits there, doesn't he?
He does,
yeah.
Really
awkward one for the Japan international.
Yeah, he's still getting treatment now on the pitch, and I mean, it's a really difficult one when you sort of slide. He was in at quite a pace, and there was a quick turn on the ball, and therefore Tomiyasu tries to put the brakes on, and then gets his studs get kind of stuck in the ground, and then he splits. Like you said, he almost does it in complete splits on the ground, and looks like his knee's taking the brunt of it.
Well, he was one of 5 changes that Arteta made for this match, and the man that he replaced in the lineup, Ben White, he's preparing to come on. Ben White, who missed out on the England squad named by Gareth Southgate today. Full reaction to that. Ivan Toney's inclusion, the real headline. You can listen to that discussion of that on the Football Daily, which you can download from BBC Sounds. But yes, early change for Arsenal. Tomiyasu cannot continue, and Ben White, with a little over 8 minutes played, enters the field.
Yeah, it looks devastated, Tomiyasu. Unfortunately for him, it's just a really unlucky injury. You know, he's devastated. Mikel Arteta goes over to him, consoles him, but now's an opportunity for Ben White. Yeah, there's a disappointment of missing out for playing in the England squad, but now he has an opportunity to play tonight and show what Gareth Southgate's missing out on.
Yes, you do wonder whether there will be that added fire from Ben White this evening, as Ramsdale has it in his own penalty area. Goalless on the night here at the Emirates, 2-2 on aggregate. A reminder, no away goals rule, of course. So if it's a draw, we're heading to extra time and potential penalties, as the ball is all the way through with Antonio Adan inside the Sporting Lisbon goal. It's the Sporting Lisbon fans over in that far lower corner that are waving the green and white flags and raising their hands in the air, continually chanting. 3,000 of them have made the trip to North London as Adan launches the ball over the halfway line. Header is won well by Saliba, and then a strong challenge by Ugarte in the centre is allowed to go by our referee, Antonio Mateo Lajos of Spain. Arsenal have picked up the ball anyway on the left-hand side with Zinchenko, as Martinelli is an option in field. Zinchenko runs into trouble, and Sporting will play it forward, well intercepted by Jorginho and played all the way back to Gabriel. And now Saliba once more. Chance to give Ben White a touch of the ball, but doesn't, goes forward instead to Fabio Vieira, who felt he was fouled, but nothing given, and Trincao will bring it forward for Sporting. Now Gonçalves, ball into the penalty area. Paulinho goes down. There's no way he's getting that. We do have VAR, but tumbles straight down, helped up by Gabriel. Poor delivery in the end.
Yeah, he's just slightly overhit it. I mean, it was a right sort of flight, but just a little bit too much power on it there. And over the head of Paulinho, though, realises pretty early that it's too high and tries to win the penalty from the referee. The referee was having none of it. You can see there when Arsenal had the ball on an attack, there was no one looking to run in behind. I mean, Sporting Lisbon are playing a very high line. However, you can see Martinelli and Jesus both just staring, looking at Zinchenko on the ball, and he just ran out of options and then got dispossessed, and that's where the attack happens from Sporting.
Here is Fabio Vieira in possession for Arsenal, dropping back into that defensive midfield role at the moment, so that free role very much in evidence. He's now swapped places with Jorginho, who's back there for Arsenal. 0-0 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. 11 minutes gone at the Emirates, 2-2 on aggregate from the first leg, but Arsenal give the ball away again. Reich will play it forward, and now Gonçalves picks it up, sees the run over on the far side. Zinchenko has to track it. Sporting advancing down that right-hand side. Edwards is making the run in field as an option, but it's all the way back with Ugarte. Now out to the right-hand side once more, and Saint-Just exchanges passes with Esgaio as Sporting patiently go back to Ugarte just inside the Arsenal half, and now Diomande squares it to Inacio. Patient progression from the Portuguese side through the Arsenal half. As Mikel Arteta's out again, the palms are up, the arms are up. The message of stay calm is communicated once more to his side as Ugarte has it on the halfway line. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a couple of times in the game where Sporting are going to have possession. Arsenal are just going to have to be patient. They're going to have to keep their shape. Movement across. Sporting trying to stretch Arsenal. They're trying to move them from side to side, wait for that opening. But Arsenal have got to stay disciplined.
Good for him by Ben White, but Arsenal can't keep hold of possession at the moment. And it's back with Inacio. Now Diomande has the option to go back to Adan, but Diomande will turn and advance through his own half. Pressured by Gabriel Jesus, but picked up once more by Inacio. Sporting Lisbon, who are unbeaten in their last 7 games, just the 1 defeat in their last 12 in all competitions. As they play the ball over the halfway line, looking for the run of Trincao. There's so much space for Paulinho in the centre. If Trincao can find him, he delays the ball in, but he does get into the box. Trincao might drive for goal from here, and it's just past the post with Ramsdale on the stretch. There are warning signs here for Arsenal, Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, there certainly are. And Sporting, very good move there. Trincao out on the right-hand side, makes a really good run. It's just all about the ball movement from Sporting Lisbon. They created that space. Trincao looks to make that run down the right-hand side, and it's Jorginho who looks like he's trying to get across, tries to make the challenge, and it is inside the box, and he's very tentative, doesn't want to give a foul away, and then Trincao beats that challenge and whips that shot into that far post. It just goes wide of the post. I think though Aaron Ramsdale may have had it covered.
Yep, I agree. Don't think that's goalkeepers union there. I think that's a very fair and impartial assessment. Out to the right-hand side goes Marcus Edwards, the former Tottenham man for Sporting, and they're building down that right once more. Arsenal having to stay switched on here. It's back to Ugarte. Now out to the right again as Gonçalves makes the run inside the penalty area, but Sporting now with patience. This is what they do. It's interesting, isn't it? They've got into some great positions down the right, but I would say 50% of the time they've cut it back to halfway, just slowed the play down. But when they have kept going and advancing forward, they've caused Arsenal problems.
Yeah, they kind of want to create that extra space. They want Arsenal to be like coming out of their lines, and then there's a run that goes in behind, out wide, and they've done that quite well. That's how Trincao got it in down the right-hand side. Now there's a bit of frustration in here from the Arsenal fans because Arsenal won the ball back, then they lost it really quickly, but now they've regathered.
Yes, Arsenal taking a leaf out of Sporting's book there and just saying, well, let's just enjoy a little bit of possession. A couple of tackles flying in as Zinchenko's closed down by Ugarte, but the ball will spin away to Gabriel on the edge of his own penalty area. 0-0, 40 minutes gone at the Emirates, 2-2 on aggregate.
Yeah, what Sporting have done really, really well, and Ugarte, you just see there, the minute you've got an Arsenal player with a ball, Jorginho is the one on the ball, back to play. The minute he's got his back slightly to play,
ball over the top for Gabriel Jesus inside the penalty area, well read by Adan, who came and snatched it away from the Arsenal striker.
Yeah, they're very quick on that front foot. They're really quick to try and close Arsenal down, and they've been caught out one or two times there.
So Adan will play the ball out, nicely controlled in the centre of the pitch and then sent forwards by Paulinho, but too much on that, and it's all the way through to Aaron Ramsdale. And it's one of those, when you look back at the first leg, Matt Turner given his chance in that one, but it was a difficult night for the USA number 1, and no surprise really to see Ramsdale come back in for this one. Yes, Arteta's made 5 changes, but as you touched on in the build-up, Mark, you know, this is still a strong side. Yes, Ødegaard's on the bench, Saka's on the bench, Trossard's on the bench, but you've got Jesus up front, Martinelli and Aaron Ramsdale back between the sticks.
Yeah, I feel for Matt Turner. I think he had a bit of a mixed game. The first goal obviously was his. He should have come out and taken or dealt with the cross into the box. But there were also moments in the game where I thought he made some very, very good saves. But I think it's also a combination of just not playing enough games of football.
Nicely worked by Arsenal down the left-hand side, but Sporting intercept on the edge of their penalty area. Try a little 1-2 and they're screaming at each other. Ballin and Pedro Gonçalves, as that didn't quite come off, as Nelson plays the ball into the area, and good save by Adan. Gabriel Jesus came flying in, great delivery from Reiss Nelson, and Adan was there, a difficult bobbling ball. Jesus didn't make the best contact on it, but Adan stood tall, pushed the ball away, and Arsenal build again from the halfway line.
It was that moment of real quick tempo, changing the tempo. Reiss Nelson was on his bike. He just got his head down, beat the man, and whipped that cross into that dangerous area. And Jesus gets on the end of it, just to the bounce, gets done by the bounce, can't get a full foot on it. He ends up using his knee, and Adan deals with it pretty comfortably.
Arsenal win a free kick midway through the Sporting half. Jesus going down. 0-0, 2-2 on aggregate, but we have to say that is probably the first real goal-mouth action that we've seen from Arsenal so far.
Yeah, just watching the chance again on the replay there, Reiss Nelson actually does even better. He doesn't take the man on, but he keeps his head down, does a bit of a step over in the ball. Two Sporting Lisbon players come across to him, and as they do, he whips that cross in between the two of them, and it's a wonderful ball to the far post. And unfortunately for Jesus, it just takes a bounce before him and bobbles up, and he can't get his leg over it and ends up trying to knee it into the back of the net, but the keeper was up to it.
Arsenal take the free kick short as Sporting disperse outside their own penalty area, trying to readjust for whatever Arsenal are going to do as they work it out to the right-hand side. And Martinelli plays it back to Granit Xhaka, who swings the ball to the edge of the box, left-footed, poor delivery. It's headed away by Pedro Gonçalves, picked up by Fabio Vieira, who swings the ball in. Cleared away at the back by Diamande. Reiss Nelson trying to trap it on the edge of the D. Sporting get a foot in. Jorginho sends it back in. Fabio Vieira, left-hand side, goes down. Is that a penalty? No, says the referee. Vieira is absolutely furious. He's waving his right arm at the official. He's already up towards the halfway line saying, I've made my decision. We have VAR. They will have a look. What do we reckon at first viewing, Mark Schwarzer?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first touch was a little bit heavy. I'm not quite sure. It's hard to call split second. I'm going to say that the referee, I think, got it right.
We will see when we get the replay, but I totally agree in terms of the first touch. He's lost control of the ball, Fabio Vieira. Let's see now. The throw's been given. Let's just see if the referee is going to stop play, but he says no. And if we get underway, that means that VAR are happy. And Mark, you're very happy with your call.
Yeah, I am. I mean, the referee was spot on. He was there. You could see it. He was in the right position. And it was a clear touch of the ball, and therefore there was no foul on Vieira.
Arsenal coming down the left-hand side into the penalty area they go. This could be the opener. Good save again by Dan. Goes out to Xhaka! And it is the opener. The save from Martinelli can't prevent the follow-up from Granit Xhaka. And Arsenal take the lead early on at the Emirates. 1-0 on the night. 3-2 they lead Sporting Lisbon on aggregates.
Yeah, it's a great ball in behind there on the left-hand side. Martinelli runs onto it, beats the defender as the ball gets played through. He's through on goal, but he's on an acute angle. And as he comes in, has the shot, keeper does well, makes the block, and it goes straight to Granit Xhaka, and he smashes. He takes a touch firstly and smashes it into that far post. And it's a really good finish with players on the line, and it's 1-0. And Arsenal, tell you what, they're good for it.
His fifth goal of the season, which makes this his best goal-scoring season with Arsenal. And it's just another chapter, isn't it? Another line in the story of Granit Xhaka and Arsenal. You know, you think back a few years and it looked as though his relationship with the fans, with the club, had been broken beyond repair. But he's going from strength to strength. Arsenal are going from strength to strength this season, certainly in the Premier League. Will they be going from strength to strength in Europe as well? They have the lead, 3-2 on aggregate against Sporting Lisbon. We have a stoppage in play here because Arsenal have a player down. So let's head to the London Stadium. An update from West Ham against Larnaca. Sahil Sahi.
Yeah, 0-0 here, Vicky. Very quiet opening 20 minutes between West Ham and Larnaca. West Ham lead 2-0 from the first leg. They had a first chance after 6 minutes. It was Scamacca from the left-hand side. His right-footed shot 20 yards away just flew wide. Scamacca has just put West Ham into the lead. Talking of him, he just poked it past the Cypriot goalkeeper. So West Ham lead, Larnaca on the night by a goal to nil and 3-0 on aggregate.
Thanks very much, Sahel. Well, joy for the Emirates in terms of the lead, but frustration and disappointment because another enforced change. William Saliba was the player down. He's not able to continue, and so Rob Holding enters the field of play for Arsenal. Well, it's, you know, it's a tale of two different feelings and emotions at the moment for Mikel Arteta. They've got the lead through Granit Xhaka, but that's Tomiyasu, and now Saliba that's had to go off.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Arsenal in these early stages of the game to have two injuries, two enforced changes because of those injuries. But, you know, that's why they've got the big depth in the squad, and these things can happen. Playing on two fronts, trying to get to, you know, further latter stages of the Europa League is vitally important, as well as, you know, winning the Premier League title, and they're going to have these setbacks along the way, which they've already had. But it's how they deal with them, and so far they've dealt with them pretty comfortably.
And we will try and bring you an update on exactly what happened there with Saliba, because it was while everybody was celebrating at the other end, Saliba was down and receiving treatment. So we'll try and get clarification on that. Granit Xhaka was busy sticking the ball in the back of the net as Gabriel Jesus does well. Arsenal win a throw deep in Sporting territory. 1-0 they lead here at the Emirates. 3-2 they lead Sporting on aggregate. Good work by Gonçalves, dispossessing Jesus down by the corner flag. Ben White slides in, gets a toe on it. Fabio Vieira can't keep hold of it though. Reece Nelson can. Plays it to Jesus. Intelligent ball by Nelson Jesus. Right hand side of the penalty area. Oh, is that a penalty? Offside flag is up. Goodness me. The assistant on this near side waving his flag. You think, what's it going to go for? And it goes for an offside. Well, this is going to be interesting, because that certainly looked like a big penalty call. Let's have a look first. It is offside. It's good refereeing by the assistant there. I mean, he could have flagged initially. Jesus is wide right. It's not necessarily a goal-scoring opportunity, but Jesus going down inside the area. Otherwise,
it's a penalty. I think there's a dead-set penalty otherwise. So Sporting get away with it. Yes, Gabriel Jesus is a little bit offside, and you only need to be a little bit offside to be offside, right?
Very true. Yes, Matthias Reich, he was the player that made contact with Jesus, breathes a sigh of relief, and we're back underway. 1-0 Arsenal lead on the night, 3-2 they're up on aggregate. Here is their goal scorer this evening at the Emirates, Granit Xhaka. Good play through the centre, Fabio Vieira, closed down well by Trincao. Vieira then goes down, doesn't get the free kick now. Did he make contact there with Diomande? The referee has stopped play. He's calling Fabio Vieira to, well, he called him to him, and he didn't wait for Fabio Vieira to take one step towards him before getting out the yellow card and brandishing it, and Fabio Vieira is into the book, Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, he's a bit frustrated because he lost possession, and then also I think he felt that he was fouled. The referee waved play on. Sporting looked to get out, and I didn't quite see. I was watching play, and he must have followed through a little bit and caught the Sporting defender Diomande. You can see as watching the replay as he gets sort of tumbled over, and I think he just sticks his leg out a little bit, and he just unfortunately clips Diomande a little bit on his foot, and he's made a bit of a meal of it, of course, and then the referee's bought it and given a free kick.
Do you know what? There's one angle there where you just wonder if that's deliberate, where he's just gone in there, as you say, out of frustration. It is a yellow card. We're back underway, but he's got to keep his temper under control here, because we've seen already when there was the penalty appeal that, quite rightly, you said wasn't a penalty. He was furious about that. There's been a couple of times in the centre of the park, Fabio Vieira, where he feels he's been fouled, and he's reacted to that. Just got to be careful.
Yeah, you do. And the referee has allowed a lot of play to continue today, this evening so far. I mean, we'll see as the game goes on. There'll be more cynical fouls, and then I'm sure there'll be more yellow cards as the longer the game goes on, certainly if one of the teams are behind, as Sporting are right now. But so far, he's allowed a lot to go.
So Arsenal leading by a goal to nil midway through the first half here on 5 Live. 3-2 up on aggregate. Union Saint-Gilloise have taken the lead against Union Berlin. 1-0 on the night. That's 4-3 on aggregate. That was a cracking first leg tie as well. And a reminder, West Ham leading 1-0 at the London Stadium. 3-0 up on aggregate in the Europa Conference League against Larnaca. Manchester United already through to the Europa League quarter-finals. 5-1 winners on aggregate against Real Betis. Marcus Rashford scoring their winner this evening. The draw for the Europa League and Europa Conference League and Champions League taking place tomorrow for the quarter-finals, and we'll find out the semi-final opponents as well. The pathway all the way through to the final will be decided by UEFA tomorrow. Gabriel Jesus dispossessed by Diomande on the halfway line. Here is Paulinho out to the right-hand side. He goes and tries to play in Edwards, the former Tottenham youngster. But Arsenal get the foot in and clear up towards halfway. And here goes Martinelli, has the option of Fabio Vieira down the right-hand side. And Vieira will pick it up now as 2 green and white shirts with him. Pulls the ball back to Ben White. And now Jorginho. Zinchenko has it on the left-hand side now and will be dinked forwards into the penalty area looking for Martinelli and collected easily by Antonio Adan. In the Super League, Castleford Tigers leads Rhinos by 4-0. Commentary is over on 5 Sports Extra. That was a 7:45 kickoff. With Adan in possession inside his own penalty area. It's Gold Cup Day tomorrow at Cheltenham. Coverage starts on 5 Sports Extra from 1:15, and we have commentary of all the races through until 5:45. Ball is all the way through with Aaron Ramsdale in the Arsenal penalty area. Mikel Arteta pointing on the edge of that dotted technical area as Ramsdale slightly loose touch inside his 6-yard box, but the hooped green and white shirts of Sporting aren't near enough to take advantage. And Gabriel Jesus will chest it down on the halfway line. Arsenal lead 1-0 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate. Jesus plays it out to the left-hand side, and Zinchenko has the red and white shirts making the moves inside the area. Ball is pulled across, deflected behind, and there's a bit of an inquest going on here in the Sporting defence, because since taking the lead, Mark Schwarzer through Granit Xhaka, Arsenal very much on top.
Yeah, it's very much calmed them down a little bit, Arsenal. I think they've had more control of the game. Sporting have been a little bit disjointed since that goal. For Arsenal now, it's about trying to control the tempo of the game, keep possession of the ball, be patient, and they've got the advantage. They need to utilise it. But by saying that, they still need to maintain the pressure. Don't sit back and try and hold on to it.
So corner taken. Zinchenko trying to get out of the way of the referee on the edge of the D. Martinelli drives the ball across. Well saved by Dan. Flag is up on the near side anyway. Well, Zinchenko is doing his job. He's racing back on halfway to stop the Sporting counter. He's had to as well, and he's not had the pace. Sporting into the penalty area. Can they make something of this? Arsenal just about get the block in from Zinchenko on Marcus Edwards. We'll go back to what happened with the referee and Zinchenko at the other end, but Arsenal almost caught out there. Zinchenko done for pace by Marcus Edwards, who dallied taking the shot and allowed the Ukrainian eventually to make the block as Sporting had the ball just inside the Arsenal half. Goodness me, Mark Schwarzer, that was so dangerous for Arsenal. And do you know what? You thought Zinchenko had it covered, but Edwards just did him for pace. Yeah,
but I think a lot of the Arsenal players, I think, stopped and thought there was going to be a free, retake, a drop ball, because the referee got clearly in the way of Zinchenko. The referee wasn't actually watching as Arsenal tried to play their play. He was watching in the 18-yard box. He was seeing, if any fouls were committed, and he was standing right at the edge of the box near the D, the closest side to the corner, which is unusual. Normally they're standing further away, and he gets right in the way of Zinchenko as he tries to hit it first time, and that's where the break happens. And Edwards was quick. He was very quick. He beats Zinchenko to the ball, and you think that actually he's going to get a proper shot on goal. Zinchenko does really well in the end of regaining himself, getting himself back in position, and makes the block. But he does turn around to Aaron Ramsdale and give him an earful for not coming out and taking that ball.
Arsenal with a free kick just inside the half, and now Zinchenko has a word with our referee Antonio Mateo Lahoz, because it was one of those where I was thinking, fair play to him for staying switched on, because that was so poor in terms of positioning from the official. He would have been absolutely furious. He would have wanted to give the referee an earful, but instead he did stay switched on and went with Edwards. And ironically, being the player involved, he was the only one that actually did do his job and stop that Sporting counter eventually, as Gabriel Jesus comes forward. Good footwork into the penalty area. Jesus gets the shot away. Great save, Dan. Jesus tries to pull it back across. It's gone behind for a goal kick. Very good play by the Brazilian, and that's probably the best save of the night from Adan.
Yeah, it's wonderful feet at the edge of the box by Jesus. He's in a difficult position. He's got like 3-4 Sporting Lisbon players in front of him. He takes a first touch, he beats one, and then he opens himself up, and he gets that shot away through the legs of the Sporting defender, and the keeper makes a really good save down to his right-hand side. Jesus tries to get the rebound, and I think he slips a little bit, and the ball actually ricochets off him and goes out for a goal kick.
So Sporting in possession just outside their own penalty area. Half an hour gone. Arsenal with the slender advantage on the night and in the tie. 1-0 here at the Emirates, 3-2 on aggregate as the ball is all the way back through with Aaron Ramsdale. But again, you can see Arteta just outside his technical area. He knows that this is very much still in the balance, Mark Schwarzer.
It is, and you can see, you know, Arsenal on a couple of occasions been really pushed forward, got players forward, and they've been under pressure, and they've got to be careful not to get caught out. There's a couple of times there, like you said, on that corner there, where they were so fortunate not to give away a goal.
And they've lost the ball just outside their own penalty area. Well won back though. Gabriel Jesus plays it out to Zinchenko. Down the left-hand side he goes, still inside the Arsenal half, but now finds Martinelli hugging that left-hand touchline up against Saint-Just, who you might remember from the first leg. Absolutely fabulous last-ditch block to deny what would have been a fabulous solo goal from Martinelli. It's an interesting matchup once again. Arsenal with the one goal to their name here at the Emirates on 5 Live. Granit Xhaka, 3-2 they lead on aggregate, and it's Xhaka in possession out to the left-hand side, and Martinelli once more taking on the wing-back Ricardo Esgaio, and pulls it back to the centre, and Jorginho now found by Xhaka, and Arsenal happy just to slow the play down, enjoy a bit of possession. Arsenal, who've had to make those 2 early changes because of injury, Tomiyasu and William Saliba both going off, White and Holding replacing them. In terms of concern for Arsenal going forward, I mean the partnership that Gabriel and Saliba have developed at the back, as flag stays down for now. Martinelli into the penalty area, Diomande with the challenge, and now the flag goes up. And it's one of these rinse repeat, isn't it, really? You know, half a penalty shout for Arsenal, but we knew, Mark Schwarzer, that the offside flag was going to go up.
Martinelli was by quite some distance in an offside position. That's where the frustration comes out from players when the linesman and the referee allow play to continue. He's miles offside, and then obviously he goes back and gives that free kick for the offside.
So free kick to Sporting just outside their own penalty area. Let's head back to the London Stadium. Sahel Sahi.
Yes, still West Ham 1, Larnaca 0, 32 minutes played. West Ham leading 3-0 over the 2 legs, but both sides have had the ball in the back of the net, but both sides' goals were ruled out for offside. So still West Ham 1, Larnaca 0, 3-0 on aggregate, Vicky.
Thanks, Sahel. So West Ham look as though they're heading through to the Europa Conference League quarter-finals. Manchester United already through to the Europa League quarter-finals. 5-1 winners on aggregate against Real Betis. Marcus Rashford scoring their winner in Spain on the night this evening, and Arsenal leading by a goal to 0 here at the Emirates on 5 Live, 3-2. They lead on aggregate as Ben White plays the ball forward. Reece Nelson can't latch onto it, but he will nick it away from Gonçalves on the rebound. Out to the left-hand side he goes, and Martinelli has Jesus and Fabio Vieira as options in the centre. Zinchenko on the overlap. Martinelli held up well by Saint-Just. And we'll pull it back to Gabriel, who will square it to Rob Holding inside the centre circle. Sporting closing down with Paulinho. He's been very quiet over the last 10-15 minutes or so. Their man through the middle.
Yeah, he has been. You know, he's one that probably should have taken his chances in the first leg. Had a really good chance for on goal and skies it over the crossbar. At the moment, it's had limited opportunity, limited time on the ball, but that still may come as the game goes on. The game will open up. Sporting are going to have to commit more players forward the longer it stays at 1-0.
Yeah, he has scored 14 goals this season, Paulinho. One of those was in the first leg, but 8 of them come in the Portuguese League Cup as Arsenal have it on the halfway line. 1-0 they lead, 3-2 on aggregate. 11 minutes plus added time to play in this first half as Holding plays the ball down the left-hand side, looking for the run of Martinelli, who will just keep it in, down by the byline, under pressure from Esgaio. Martinelli's done well there. It's in a tight position. He's found Gabriel Jesus just inside the penalty area. Jesus trying to work room for the shot. Well defended by Diomande behind for a Sporting goal kick.
Yeah, Martinelli does absolutely brilliantly down that left-hand side. He is all by himself, and he has to try and firstly prevent the ball going out for a goal kick, which he does really well right on the line. And he's able to then hold the ball up, shield it, and manage to twist and turn and play a really good ball into Gabriel Jesus. Takes his first touch as a really good one. Second one lets himself down a little bit, and therefore Sporting get the ball back. But it's a nice move from Martinelli.
Ball cleared along over the halfway line by Sporting, looking for the run of Trincao, well covered by Ben White. Aaron Ramsdale will clear first time, doesn't really get the height on it, but Granit Xhaka helps him out, heads it down just outside the centre circle and plays it out to the right-hand side. And Fabio Vieira over the halfway line he goes. Reece Nelson as an option, hugging that right-hand touchline, but Vieira, good ball through the centre, finds Gabriel Jesus, right-hand side of the penalty area. Nelson arriving, here is Nelson, tried to get the shot across, well blocked by Sporting. They're both appealing for it, and it's gone out for a goal kick rather than a corner, and Reece Nelson spreads his arms wide in appeal.
Yeah, I think it was the right decision. The linesman was unsure, the referee actually made the decision, and I think he's actually spot on from that. Reece Nelson does look like he was the last player to take that touch. He looks to jump out of the way as a Sporting player comes across to try and make the clearance, and instead the Sporting player just dummies, lets the ball go out, and it's a goal kick.
Adan in possession for Sporting then, inside his own penalty area, the goalkeeper. And now forward with Trincao on loan from Barcelona after spending last season on loan with Wolverhampton Wanderers. All the way he goes back to Adan as Sporting play out once more, but good pressure from Arsenal right outside the Sporting penalty area, forcing them to go long. Jorginho wins the header, flicked forward by Ben White, and Xhaka then goes down, fouled by Ugarte, and it will be a free kick to Arsenal in the centre circle. Just touching on Gabriel Jesus, Mark, how would you rate his sharpness so far in this match? First start, remember, since the beginning of December after picking up that knee injury with Brazil at the World Cup, made his comeback for Arsenal after 3.5 months as a substitute against Fulham, but given his first start today.
Yeah, I think we've seen glimpses so far in this first half, and partly because he hasn't been involved as much. It's more so in the last probably 10-15 minutes where Arsenal have had more dominance, more possession in Sporting's half.
Here they come down the left-hand side with Martinelli. He's looking more and more dangerous. Ball will find Xhaka. Edge of the 6-yard box, back to Martinelli. Weak shot, cleared away on the edge of the 6-yard box. Picked up by Nelson. Now White just inside the penalty area. All very neat and tidy from Arsenal. But again, you know what? The offside flag is Arsenal's biggest enemy this evening. It's gone up again. It's another free kick to Sporting.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit overplaying from Arsenal. There was a couple of occasions there where they could have actually whipped the ball in sooner. They could have had a shot on goal. Instead, they looked like they almost wanted to pass it in the back of the net. So it's just a bit of overplaying.
Goals going in the Europa Conference League. West Ham still leading Larnaca 1-0 on the night, 3-0 on aggregate, but Nice have scored against Sheriff Tiraspol. That's 2-0. They lead on aggregate 1-0 on the night, and it's 1-1 between AZ Alkmaar and Lazio. 3-2 Alkmaar lead that on aggregates. Draw for the quarter-finals in the Champions League, the Europa Conference League is tomorrow. Manchester United will be there. Chelsea and Manchester City, of course, in the Champions League. West Ham look as though they'll be there in the Europa Conference League. Finally poised this still. And as it stands at the Emirates, it will be Arsenal heading through. But just the goal in the tie at the moment, just the goal on the night as Paulinho goes down, wins the free kick just inside the Sporting half.
Yeah, it's Jorginho there, takes a bit of a heavy touch, and then in doing so, he makes the sort of dive lunge at the ball and fouls Paulinho, and the referee rightly gives that free kick.
So Sporting with the set piece, which Inacio will take all the way back to Diomande. Back to Inacio, who controls on the left-hand side, plays it forward, Ben White chest down, plays it to Jorginho, and now Rob Holding, who's such little game time this season, just 7 substitute appearances in the Premier League, but an unexpected opportunity to try and impress Mikel Arteta, get a bit of game time under his belt with that injury to William Saliba. Tomiyasu coming off injured as well in the first half for Arsenal, which is why White is on the field. Lovely little drag back by Reich there. And Sporting have it just outside their own penalty area, but it's good pressure from Xhaka, and Arsenal have won it back, and Martinelli tried to find Jesus first time just inside the penalty area, and Sporting make the interception, and Reich will play it back to Inacio, who lifted over the halfway line, and Arsenal have missed the header, but Aaron Ramsdale is out quickly to clear away from Trincao. But just a couple of times there, Mark Schwartz, so we had that earlier chance for Marcus Edwards, which really he should have done better with, getting the better of Zinchenko for pace in on goal, but allowing Zinchenko just to get back into position to block the shot. But the warning signs aren't coming as frequently at all as they were in the first half, but they are still coming, and there might be warning signs here as the shot is driven over from the edge of the penalty area. Gabriel sliding in and making sure that he did enough to put off the run of Jeremiah St. Just, the centre-half, bursting forward. Tell you what, that was a run and a half, and Gabriel did well to put off his fellow defender right at the last moment, scooping over the bar from just outside the penalty area.
Yeah, Arsenal just opened up. No one went to the ball. St. Just then found himself free run on goal. And as he hits the D, he looks to get his shot off, and that's when Gabriel decides to come across and make the block. And he's his challenge that maybe was just enough to put St. Just off, and he skies it over the crossbar.
Long ball over the top as Arsenal look to Martinelli, but Adan comes out and claims on the edge of his penalty area. Arsenal leading by a goal to nil on the night, 3-2 up on aggregate as Trincao plays it in field, and Sporting suddenly have found a second wind. Here is Marcus Edwards bearing down on goal, plays it into Paulinho, and Aaron Ramsdale does well, comes out. There was just too much on it for Paulinho, and it was easy for Ramsdale just to allow the ball to trickle behind, but it's fine margins.
It is, yeah. There's some really good intricate sort of passing there from Sporting, and you can see there it was a great opportunity. Marcus Edwards there, he just had too much time on the ball. He tries to lay it off to Paulinho. It was a pretty straightforward pass, but he overhits it and hits it too far in front of him, and it just runs out for a goal kick. So it was a disappointment for Sporting there. A big opportunity to have a shot on goal.
And he needs the service. That's all he needs, Paulinho. He's in good form at the moment. Yes, as Mark mentioned, he had more chances in the first leg that he didn't take, but he's looking to score for the fourth game running, and Sporting know with just a goal in it on the night and on aggregate, they're still very much in this tie, the Portuguese side, as Reich does well, plays the ball off Reece Nelson for a Sporting throw midway through their own half as their manager Ruben Amorim comes out to the edge of his technical area, cites Mikel Arteta as an example for managers in terms of withstanding pressure in difficult spells, because it has been a relatively difficult domestic campaign for Sporting. They were champions a couple of seasons ago, runners-up last year, but sitting fourth at the moment in the Portuguese top flight, and the Europa League could well be their best chance of qualifying for the Champions League next season. Certainly not out of it domestically in terms of league position, and of course they'd have to go through and win the thing. But it does put a different complexion on it, doesn't it, when you know that actually you might not get there in the league, and this might not only be a chance of silverware but a chance of the Champions League, a competition which Sporting were in this season but finished third, and so have dropped down to the Europa League as Arsenal leading by a goal to nil, 3-2 on aggregate, come down the left-hand side with Martinelli. It's well blocked away by a combination of St. Just and Esgaio, and they play it down the right-hand side, and here they go once more. St. Just off again, the centre-half. He's had that marauding run through the centre, now goes down the right wing as it's played forward by Marcus Edwards, looking for the run of Paulinho, but again there's just too much on it for the Sporting man. He did well there to prevent the goal kick. He's played it out for a throw to Arsenal, deep in Arsenal territory. But again, if they start just getting that final ball right, yes, he was wide right that time, but the runners in behind, they're posing some questions for Arsenal.
They are, and St. Just is also causing Arsenal some problems. There's twice now in a row he's made that run forward, and he's been unmarked at times. He's laid the ball off then to Marcus Edwards. Edwards in a pretty decent position, unchallenged, just another poor pass, overhit it, simple pass, and Paulinho just did enough to play it out for a throw-in rather than give away for a goal kick.
Ball chested down by Holding on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area and cleared forward. Diamande will control inside the centre circle out to the left-hand side. Sporting go, and Reich plays it back to Inacio. Sporting working over the halfway line with Trincao, and now Gonçalves. Nice little jink takes him away from Ben White, and now feeds Edwards out to the right-hand side. They go, and Zinchenko with a bit of defending to do. Back to Edwards, edge of the penalty area, plays the shot in, deflects behind. It's a Sporting corner.
Yeah, it's again, not a real lot of danger there. Arsenal had enough numbers back there. Sporting at the edge of the box there. You can see Edwards again on the ball, gives himself a little bit of space, opens up, hits it with his left foot. And I think it's Ben White who gets in the way and makes a block, and it goes out for a corner. So yeah, you're right, the warning signs are there. Sporting, just that final pass is missing at the moment.
Almost into added time at the end of the first half. Can Sporting level on the night and level up the tie? 4 minutes of added time as the corner swung in high, and Ramsdale jumps and watches it sail over the bar.
Yeah, disappointing delivery in the box there. It was Edwards again on the ball. He whips it in, overhits it, and it goes out for a goal kick. Yeah, poor delivery. Sporting had everyone forward. They were looking to get those run into the box. Perfect time to try and cause some damage just before half-time, and it's a wasted opportunity.
So into those 4 added minutes, and Aaron Ramsdale taking his time over this goal kick as Arsenal's red shirts retreat up towards the halfway line. They lead by a 1-0 courtesy of Granit Xhaka. 3-2 ahead on aggregate. Manchester United 5-1 winners over Real Betis earlier on aggregate, 1-0 on the night. They'll be in the quarter-final draw for the Europa League tomorrow. Will Arsenal be joining them? They will as things stand, as Gabriel Jesus holds the back of his head, being challenged by Diomande, but the referee allows play to continue, and Arsenal in possession just inside their own half. Plays the ball forward from Rob Holding, looking for the run of Fabio Vieira, but there's too much on it. It is catching Mark Schwarzer. That final pass, just a little bit too much on it. It's out of play for a Sporting goal kick.
Yeah, it's a straight ball over the top. Pitch is a little bit damp, and therefore it's always going to skid through.
It's been a red card at the London Stadium, Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, Larnaca have gone down to 10 men, Vicky. Ledes has been sent off for a challenge on 4 nows. The referee went to the monitor, he had a good look, and he issued a red card. He did give him a yellow card first, but they only gave him a red. West Ham still leading Larnaca 1-0, and now Larnaca down to 10 men.
Thanks, Sahel. So West Ham firmly with a foot in the Europa Conference League quarter-finals as Trincao goes down under the challenge of Granit Xhaka, who's gone into the book. The Arsenal captain, he's very quick to get those yellow cards out. I'm not saying he's wrong with that decision, because Trincao was off and away, but it's, you know, it doesn't need a second, he doesn't need a split second to make up his mind, the referee, as the ball goes down the right-hand side, intercepted by Zinchenko, throw to Sporting midway through the Arsenal half. Yeah, it's a clear free kick, and it's a clear yellow card. Trincao was away, and Granit Xhaka runs back across. I mean, his argument was he was stepping across. There was no intent there, but he does clip his legs, and it is a foul, and it is a yellow card. There's no doubt about it. Here comes Sporting, playing the ball to the edge of the penalty area. Maybe it's something he practices. It's just the speed with which he gets it out of his pocket. Back on the halfway line goes Sporting, trailing by a 0-0. Arsenal lead 3-2 on aggregate, 1-0 on the night. Out to the right-hand side go the Portuguese side, and now in field to Ugarte. Squares it to the centre-half Inacio, who is pushing up as Sporting advance. Only the goalkeeper Adan inside the Sporting half as they try and unlock Arsenal at the end of this first half. Gonçalves switches the play out to the right-hand side. It's a good ball, picked up by Marcus Edwards. The pink boots flashing down that right-hand side, pulls it back to Saint-Just, to the centre-half. He's in an advanced position once again. Here he is, Saint-Just, just outside the penalty area, pulls it back to Ugarte. Arsenal dropping very deep here. Ugarte goes for goal, and it wasn't a bad try. Ramsdale got something on it as well, and it's behind for a Sporting Lisbon corner. That's a great shot. It really is from distance. He sets himself, looks to take a shot, dummies, takes a couple more steps forward. As he strikes it, absolutely flies off his foot there. And actually, I think it takes a deflection. Is it Granit Xhaka who makes the block? It takes a deflection off Xhaka and goes out for a corner. Yeah, good spot. Ramsdale on the stretch, but he didn't need to get the touch. Xhaka did. It was necessary. It's a Sporting corner. It's swung in. It's headed away by Sporting on the edge of the 6-yard box, and it's another decent opportunity. And there is the half-time whistle. Well, Arsenal lead by a 0-0 thanks to Granit Xhaka. They're 3-2 up on aggregate, but Mark Schwarzer, Sporting finishing that half strongly, and they will know, they will believe very much this tie is still alive. Oh, very much is still alive, and I think Sporting has shown enough in this game that they pose a big threat going forward. Arsenal have to be on their game for the remainder of this match, otherwise they'll get punished. Sporting have got the attacking options on the field. They can hurt them, and they've showed that in the first half that they are a threat going forward. And if you're Arteta, you've had to make 2 changes with Tomiyasu and Saliba coming off. You've got 3 more that you can make, another one if it goes to extra time, but you've got Saka, you've got Odegaard as options on the bench, you've got Trossard. Would you make a change, or do you feel that what you've seen so far is good enough to keep going with this side? Well, he's made 2 subs at different times, so he's only got 1 more chance to make a substitution. So he has to make, if he's going to make he's got to make 3. I don't think he'll make that at half time. You don't want to play the remainder of 45 minutes without having the opportunity to make a sub, so I think he's going to leave it later. Depends how the game goes in this second half.
It is a very difficult one to make when you've already had those injuries at half-time, in the first half, sorry, and your hand's been forced. So he's only got that one opportunity to make the sub.
So, half-time at the Emirates, Arsenal leading by a goal to nil, 3-2 up against Sporting Lisbon on aggregate. But this tie, well, will there be more twists? Will there be more turns? It's certainly still alive here at the Emirates.
Vicky, Mark, for the moment, thank you. Let's head straight into the Conference League and go to the London Stadium. West Ham taking on AEK Larnaca. Half-time for Sahel Sahi.
And they lead by a goal to nil, Aaron. West Ham then in control and heading into the last 8. Gianluca Scamacca with the goal after 20 minutes, after a forceful run by Manuel Lanzini. He picked out the Italian, who made it 5 Europa Conference League goals this season. Both sides then had goals ruled out for offside, and just before the break, Fornals beat the visitors' goalkeeper, but the crossbar denied him and West Ham. And then Gustavo Ledes of Larnaca, he was sent off after catching Fornals. So half-time, West Ham 1, 10-man AEK Larnaca 0. West Ham lead 3-0 on aggregate.
Sahel, thank you. Rugby, tennis, and a bit of a wrap-up from the day's action at Cheltenham to come, all after the latest BBC News with Richard Foster.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
NHS staff in England are being offered a 5% pay rise and a one-off payment worth at least £1,600. The deal was announced after talks between unions and the government, and strikes will be put on hold while workers consider the plans. Helga Pyle from the union Unison told 5 Live she hopes members will support them.
We're recommending acceptance of this because the money that's there has met our test of putting additional money above what the government said they'd budgeted for, and it's available now as opposed to having to wait for many months. And we know that people are really reluctant to continue taking strike action.
The latest pay offer from the Scottish Government has been accepted by the GMB, which represents ambulance crews and other NHS workers. They'll get an increase of 7.5% this year and 6.5% next year. Nurses are expected to give their verdict on those plans next week. Other strikes have been continuing. Trains in England, Wales and Scotland have been disrupted on another day of industrial action by the RMT. But it's thought teachers in the National Education Union in
Your commentary team for this Europa League knockout tie, Mark Shorter and Vicky Sparks.
Thanks, Aaron. Yes, still awaiting the players to enter the field at the Emirates here. Mark Schwarzer just briefly standing up to my right there, Mark. I would do that. I would stretch my legs. But honestly, I'm a little bit worried that someone might steal my chair if I did that. Because let me explain, listeners. We're up on the gantry here at the Emirates, which is a great position. We've got a brilliant view. But the table is quite high, and the red plastic chairs that we're sitting on are quite low. So about 15 minutes before kickoff, there was a bit of a debate, a discussion, a chair heist, however you want to put it, amongst various broadcasters who are all slightly panicking that they wouldn't really be able to see the pitch. I'm sitting on 2 chairs. I can see Lucy Ward is also here. She was sitting on 3. She's very kindly given one of her chairs to Norwegian television. Mark, you're a 1-chair man.
I am, yeah. I did notice it as well. I did point it out. I thought it was very low, and I relented, and I decided to stick with my 1 chair.
Yeah, you've got about, a foot and a half on me, 2 feet. So I think you're fine. But yes, 2 chairs. We're not going to let anybody take them away from BBC Radio 5 Live, because we want to be able to see this second half, because it is a second half that is finally poised in terms of this tie, and Arsenal are making a change at half-time. Now, just to clarify, if they make a change at half-time, and we've double-checked this in the rulebook, they can make one in the second half as well. So they have 3 players left to be able to bring on. If they make a change at half-time, they still keep that final substitution opportunity. So Trossard is on, Gabriel Jesus is off, and let's talk about Gabriel Jesus first of all, Mark. We didn't see any issue in the first half. Wouldn't surprise you at all if Arteta had said, right, let's give him the first half. It's his first start since the start of December, and then we'll put somebody else on. Yeah,
I would have thought so, and I stand corrected. That is news to me about the substitution rule as well. So yeah, that's good to know going forward. Of course, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was the fact that he's got 45 minutes under his belt. It was a quite high-tempo game. He showed moments of being that old Gabriel Jesus that we saw at the beginning of the season, and I think it's more about wrapping him a bit more in cotton wool and preserving him for the next game coming weekend.
So we're off and underway. Arsenal leading by a 1-0 on the night here at the Emirates through Granit Xhaka on 16 minutes, 3-2 up on aggregate. No changes for Sporting at half-time, so they still have the full complement of substitutes available to them, and they are playing from left to right in possession with the throw deep in their own half, and it's collected by Rob Holding, one of those 2 enforced changes that Arteta had to make in the first half. William Saliba and Tomiyasu both going off, White and Holding coming on as Sporting clear the ball away outside their own penalty area. Reece Nelson gets a foot on it, and it's picked up down that right-hand side by Arsenal, played towards Trossard in the penalty area, tussling with Diomande, defends that really well. Diomande out to Raishu, should clear, does clear well. It's behind for a Sporting Lisbon goal kick. So in terms of the lineups, we will take you through the lineups in a moment, but let's head to the London Stadium. Early goal in the second half. West Ham, Larnaca, Sahel.
Yeah, West Ham have doubled their lead, Vicky. So it's West Ham 2, Larnaca 0 on the night. So they lead 4-0 overall. It was Skamaka with the effort, well saved by the Larnaca goalkeeper. Pushed it out though into the left full-back area. Bowen was there. He pounced, he slotted it away. He's not being picked for the England squad coming up in the games against Italy and Ukraine, but he's on the score sheet tonight. West Ham lead 10-man Larnaca by 2-0 and 4-0 overall.
Thanks to Hale as Sporting come forward. Good ball into the penalty area. Paulinho, very good defending by Gabriel. Paulinho still has it. Arsenal trying to get the ball away. Do manage to make contact with Gabriel. It's miscued, but it is out of the penalty area and out for a throw. But Arsenal rocking early on in this second half, leading by 1-0. It's been pretty open so far, Mark Schwarzer, and they might have another problem here. Well, this really would be a blow for Arsenal. They'd have to make another change if Gabriel can't continue, and it would be both centre-halves off. But let's see and let's hope, for Arsenal's sake, that Gabriel is going to be able to get up and continue.
Yeah, it must be a massive concern for Mikel Arteta now, the fact that Gabriel's gone down. He's lost his other centre-half partner already in that first half. Looks like he's just, like, I don't know, I'm not sure if he's stubbed his toe or whether he's kind of like jolted his leg a little bit, but he seems to be okay. He's stood up now and they're going to play on. Yeah, relief for Arsenal as Gabriel gets back up to his feet, and Sporting have it down the left-hand side with Trincao. Plays it back to the halfway line, and Diomande, who slots it forward. Sporting in their traditional home kit of the
green and white hoop shirts, the dark shorts, and the green and white hoop socks. Arsenal in the red and white shirts, the white shorts, and the red socks. Sporting it is in possession. Arsenal leading by a goal to nil on the night, 3-2 up on aggregate, as it's all the way back with the Sporting number one, Antonio Adan, who's made a couple of good saves in this match here on 5 Live this evening. A match that is still finely poised as Jorginho looks to the sky in frustration because he's given the ball away, looking to find Fabio Vieira, and Gonçalves is bringing it forward and doing well. Gonçalves still going. Gonçalves goes down on the edge of the D. Sporting on a free kick, they're not going to get it, and Fabio Vieira picks it up on the right hand side, slides to keep it in but can't keep possession, and Reich will bring it forward for Sporting down the left hand side. Paulinho's making the run in the area, well anticipated by Rob Holding, and Granit Xhaka will bring it away for Arsenal. He's surrounded by green and white shirts but plays the ball out to the left hand side. It's intercepted though by Saint-Just and brought forward now by Edwards, the former Tottenham youngster, and the shot curled over from 25 yards by Gonçalves. Well, he's their top scorer this season, he's got 16 goals, but why are you shooting from there? 25 yards out, loops over the bar, no problem whatsoever for Ramsdale, and they had all the momentum and all the bodies forward there, Sporting.
Yeah, they did. They just a little bit like they panicked a bit, nearly like almost ran out of options, wanted to get a shot on rather than retaining possession and starting again. But there are some signs again. It was Gonçalves who was very, very dangerous going forward. There was a last-ditch challenge from Reiss Nelson, who then won the ball back. So Arsenal just have to be a little bit careful. They've had a couple of injuries. They've had a couple of changes. They've got to get back in the flow after this half-time break.
Sporting under pressure just outside the main penalty area, brilliantly dealt with by Reich. He back heels it. Diamandi picks it up inside the penalty area. That was a beautiful, skillful piece of defensive work then from Reich. The Sporting have the ball inside their own half. Another goal at the London Stadium, Sahel.
Yeah, and another for Jared Bowen. So it's West Ham 3 now, Larnaca 0. They lead 5-0 overall. It was a cross from Cresswell and a lovely deft header from Bowen. West Ham in complete control. They're heading into the quarterfinals, Vicky.
Here comes Sporting in control in the second half. Good save by Ramsdale as the ball was fizzed into the area by Esgaio. Arsenal clear up towards the halfway line, but they're looking ever more dangerous, Sporting Lisbon, and that contingent over in the lower tier, waving the green and white flags, bouncing up and down. They know that their side are on top at the moment. Arsenal lead by a goal to nil, 3-2 up on aggregate.
Yeah, and Ramsdale was really alert there at the near post, does really well. Ball gets whipped into that near post area. Paulinho's there. He looks to try and get there ahead of Ramsdale. Ramsdale just makes himself really big and makes the block. Really good goalkeeping.
Sporting in possession, playing it out to the right-hand side. Back in field to Saint-Just. Will now play it out to the left as they look to advance towards that Arsenal half once again. On the halfway line they have it with Trincao, plays it forward out to the right-hand side. Reiss Nelson will shepherd that out of play. And let's take you through the lineups, because just watching this here, it looks to me as though Arsenal switched to the back three. Let's just watch and see what Reiss Nelson does. They have certainly done so when defending, although now as I say that, Nelson's moving forward into that right wing position. So let's see, are they going to go with the 4 in possession and the 3 out of possession to match up with Sporting? Ben White has it over on the right hand side, so we'll give you the lineup as it is right now. Ramsdale in goal, White holding Gabriel and Zinchenko. Ahead of them is Jorginho and Xhaka, with Nelson, Vieira and Martinelli supporting Trossard now, who's largely playing through the middle. But as they come forward once more, Sporting, Arsenal managed to get the foot in, and yeah, again you can see Reiss Nelson, he's just dropping back, isn't he, where necessary into that wing-back position, although Ben White's taking the right-back position for now. So potential fluidity for Arsenal at the back, but it looks as though they're largely sticking with the 4. They're in possession anyway. They've won a free kick on the halfway line. They lead by a goal to nil, 3-2 on aggregate. Yeah,
you're going to see as the game goes on, there's going to be more of these sort of challenges. Agate on a really heavy challenge on Martinelli there. He's still on the ground holding his leg. I don't think there's anything really seriously wrong with him. Probably just a little bit of a knock. But Arsenal just need to slow the game down a little bit, get their composure back again, and try and frustrate Sporting a bit more. So Zinchenko stands over this free kick on the halfway line. 7.5 minutes gone in this second half. Arsenal lead 1-0, 3-2 on aggregate. Incidentally, the Sporting lineup: Adan in goal, the back three of Saint-Just. Had that brilliant solo run, almost scored
in the first half, the centre-half, Diomande and Inacio, as Gaio, Gonçalves, Ugarte and Reich ahead of them, with Edwards, Trincao and Paulinho up top. They're without their regular captain, Sebastian Coates, the former Liverpool and Sunderland defender, without midfielder Hidemasha Morita as well, and Hector Bellerin. Missing some big players, but they're coming forward now. Sporting, Paulinho, ball into the area, takes a shot early, blocked by Holding, picked up on the left-hand side by Reich. Reece Nelson is there trying to find Paulinho once more. Arsenal clear away, but they're under the cosh at the moment, the Gunners, leading by a goal to nil, 3-2 ahead on aggregate here on 5 Live. But Sporting having the better of this second half so far, the Portuguese side. Out to the right they go, and Esgaio. And again, the patience to put it back to Saint-Just, and in field now to Diomande, and square to his fellow centre-half, Inacio. Sporting once more just look for that patient unlocking of this Arsenal back line. Trossard reaches out, tries to intercept that pass, can't do so. Bit of pinball in the centre of the park, and Sporting come away with it with Gonçalves, dinks the ball over the top. It's just over the head of Trincao, and will roll out of play for an Arsenal goal kick. They've lost control of this match, Arsenal.
A little bit, but they're going to go through moments in this game where they are going to be up against it a bit. Sporting have to go to them, have to go at them. They're 1-0 down. Rob Holding did really well in that phase of play there. First, it was that block. He did well because Paulinho was going down the left-hand side into the 18-yard box. Rob Holding knows he goes to the ground, he has to get it spot on, doesn't. He waits, times it perfectly. As Paulinho lifts his leg up to strike the ball, Holding just gets across, sticks a leg out and makes a really crucial block. And as the ball gets whipped back in again, it's Rob Holding who's in that position, reads it really well, nice and calm, simple clearance, and Arsenal were able to push out again and regather themselves.
Mark Schwartz are here with us on BBC Radio 5 Live this evening as Aaron Ramsdale launches the ball over the halfway line. Sporting pick it up once more and play the ball forward quickly. Good little toe poke by Zinchenko. Just got something on it and prevented Marcus Edwards from continuing that attack down the right-hand side. As Sporting have the throw midway through the Arsenal half. And Esgaio, as their manager, Ruben Amorim, comes out to orchestrate and points to where he wants Esgaio to send this throw. It's really brought the club together, Amorim, after a very challenging decade for Sporting. You remember that incident back in May 2018, just before the World Cup, where masked ultras, part of the fan group, broke into the training ground and attacked the players and the staff, and several players wanted to cancel their contracts that summer. It was a hugely disruptive period, quite remarkable watching it from the outside. He's come in, he's brought the club together, brought the players together, and as they send the ball back to Antonio Adan, that Portuguese league title a couple of seasons ago, first time in 19 years that they'd finished top of the tree in Portugal, and they're still in this tie. 1-0 they trail at the Emirates, 3-2 on aggregate, and they've been the better side in the second half, but they won't keep that ball in over on the far side, and Arsenal have the throw, which Rob Holding will leave for Ben White.
Yeah, this is where you rely on your experienced players, Jorginho, Xhaka, Zinchenko, albeit still quite young but very experienced in European football. It's about keeping cool heads, controlling the game. Yeah, they're going to be up against it at times, but other times they're going to then take advantage when you have possession of the ball. Don't lose it in bad position, in bad areas. Control the tempo of the game, and they've done that now in this last couple of minutes, and that's what they're going to do continuing in the remainder of this half.
And they're in possession, under pressure inside their own half, but Ramsdale takes a touch. Had no green and white hoop shirt near enough to him, but the clearance out to Zinchenko wasn't a great one. Zinchenko controls with his head but can't stop the ball going out of play, and it will be a throw to Sporting midway through the Arsenal half. And I think this is where the point you made, Rob, is pertinent, because of those 2 enforced substitutions in the first half. Yes, they made a change at half-time, but they do only have one more change in this match. And it's one of these where Sporting, because they're enjoying the better of the half, if he hadn't had to make those 2 changes, this is exactly where, as a manager, you might just want to put somebody else on just to break up the play, just to change things a little bit. But he has to think very, very carefully now about whether he uses it and when he uses it, as Sporting come down the left-hand side. Here's Gonçalves, central position, interchanges passes with Trincao and gets it back. Gonçalves tried the little flick on the edge of the area. Arsenal get the interception. Trossard under real pressure from Ugarte, goes down, and the referee's happy with that. Arsenal want a free kick, they're not getting it. Good interception by Reece Nelson, nice little layoff by Trossard, back to Nelson. Trossard has it once more, plays it through the legs of the referee. straight to a Sporting player in Paulinho. I tell you what, Sporting in possession just inside their own half. I'm not sure Arteta's going to be too happy with the positioning of the referee at times. I mean, there's a couple of times, particularly the free kick they played to the edge of the D, where Zinchenko was trying to strike it and the referee just got completely in his way. I think he's got a point there, Arteta.
But I think on that occasion there, Trossard just had a really bad touch, and therefore it does go through the referee's leg. But it was Trossard himself who had a bad touch, and it's just a bit of a phase of play there. He got knocked off the ball. There's moans and groans in the stadium about whether it should have been a free kick or not, and then shortly afterwards he has a bad touch.
Moans and groans now because Gabriel's clearance wasn't a great one, and Sporting are keeping up the pressure. They're camped inside the Arsenal half. Arsenal who lead 1-0 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate. Out to the right-hand side they go, Sporting, to Marcus Edwards, and now picked up by Esgaio. Down the right-hand side he goes. He's well marshalled. It's cleared away by Arsenal, and it will be a Sporting throw midway through the Arsenal half. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, the moment, as the stats are showing there, you can see that Sporting Lisbon have had 7 shots at goal, but none have been on target thus far. So their finishing has definitely let them down so far. Part of that's also been good defending. Rob Holding on a couple of occasions in this second half already. He's been very, very good since he's come on earlier in this game. So they've just got to be careful. They can't ride their luck too long, Arsenal. They've got to get hold of the ball, keep control the pace of the game, stay calm, and take their opportunities when they come, because they will come, because Sporting will have to push forward.
Yeah, control, I think, is the key word, Mark, because we've just had a little passage of play there. Arsenal play it forward over the halfway line where they were stretching. They did just about keep control, and now they come forward with Reece Nelson. Plays it back to Vieira, switches the play out to the left-hand side. Granit Xhaka heads it down. Trossard trying to take it in his stride in the penalty area, can't do so. Behind for a goal kick, but it was just that little passage of play and they did well in the end, Arsenal, and they played their way through that Sporting pressure, but every ball was stretched, every player was just in position, every pass was just making it, starting with Aaron Ramsdale playing out from the back, and you could just sense this nervousness around the Emirates and around the way that Arsenal were playing on the edge, but not in a good way.
Yeah, that's right. And I think you've got to go through phases in a game like that. You know, they're 1-0 up. The game is balanced, obviously, to Arsenal's favour at the moment. But there are moments in games where you feel like it's not quite clicking. They've had that in the early stages of this second half. And now, as the game goes on, they're starting to slowly come into it more.
Great ball by Trossard out to the right-hand side, picked up by Reece Nelson, who's taking on Reich, but he tried to go round Reich, and it was a poor ball. And Reich just stood his ground, and it's all the way through with Antonio Adan. 15 minutes gone in this second half. Arsenal leads by 1-0 on the night, 3-2 up against Sporting Lisbon on aggregate as they look to reach the Europa League quarter-finals. Manchester United already through, 5-1 winners over Real Betis on aggregate. Marcus Rashford giving them the 1-0 victory this evening earlier on 5 Live. And West Ham look as though they are storming into the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League. 3-0 up on the night against 10 men Larnaca. 5-0 they lead on aggregate. The draws for those competitions as Sporting go for goal from distance. Oh, it's brilliant! What an unbelievable finish that is! And Sporting Lisbon are level. It's their top scorer, Pedro Gonçalves. He saw Aaron Ramsdale off his line, and he's chipped him from the best part of 35 yards. It's a stunner. It's brilliant improvisation. They're back on level terms on the night, and in this tie in the Europa League, it's Arsenal 1, Sporting Lisbon 1.
What a strike. What an absolute unbelievable strike from Gonçalves. From, like you said, about 10 yards inside Arsenal's half. He looks up, gets his head down straight away and sees Ramsdale there, and he hits it full pelt from distance. And it looks like Ramsdale's going to make the save. Looks like he's going to get back, but it's just that little bit out of his reach. It's perfectly under the crossbar, and it smashes against the back of the net. What a finish.
I'm doing him an injustice. That is the best part of 45 yards. That is unbelievable. It is brilliant execution. Ramsdale's back pedaling a bit, but you have to, he's not even that far off his line there, Ramsdale. As a goalkeeper, you just don't expect somebody to win back possession in that area and go for goal that quickly and that accurately. It is an absolutely outstanding goal from Gonçalves.
Yeah, it's the pace of the direction of the ball. And because when Ramsdale's running backwards, he's running backwards to his left hand, so his left shoulder is back further towards the goal and his side footing back towards the goal, and the ball actually goes to the other side of him. So it makes it really awkward for him to stick his arm up to try and flick it over the crossbar, and he just can't get around in time. It's an unbelievable goal.
Well, they've scored some gorgeous goals this season, Sporting. Saw one over the weekends. Beautiful Rabona by Nuno Santos against Boavista, and that is another one. And here goes Gonçalves again, almost latched onto it in the centre circle and might have gone from it from distance. Arsenal pick up the ball again. I tell you what, Aaron Ramsdale is right back in his 6-yard box now, as Arsenal almost give the ball away once more, and they do give it away, and they've conceded the corner, and the green smoke flare has been set off amongst those 3,000 travelling Sporting fans. They're bouncing up and down. They've got a corner. They're on top. And we have to say, Mark Schwarzer, it's no more than their second-half performance deserves.
Yeah, the warning signs were there from their first kicked off in the second half. Arsenal have been up against it. They really haven't maximised their opportunities. Sporting Lisbon have been on the pressure. They've really been on their front foot. They've caused problems. It's the first shot on target that they've scored with. And I tell you what, it was a great goal, wonderful goal, but Arsenal are shocked and they've just given away a really, really sloppy corner.
The Emirates trying to lift Arsenal. Sporting swing the corner in, and the header is just over the top of the crossbar. Paulinho sinks to his knees inside the Arsenal penalty area and has his head in his hands because he knows that was a chance. It's a really intelligent header. In the end, it just kind of comes off his shoulder. He's trying to flick it with the back of his head, and it bounces over the bar of Aaron Ramsdale. My word, we've got another cracking game for you this evening on 5 Live. It was a brilliant first leg tied 2-2. It's 1-1 here at the Emirates, and here's the answer as to when Mikel Arteta is going to use this final substitution opportunity, these final 2 substitutes. It's Thomas Partey coming on, and it's Bukayo Saka coming on. Reece Nelson and Jorginho, the players to make way. And the big guns, we mentioned them before the match, they're on. And let's head back to the London Stadium. Another goal, Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, and another one for West Ham. They lead Larnaca by 4 goals to nil, 6-0 overall. But this was special. 18-year-old Divine Mubama, he's come on as a second-half substitute for his first ever senior goal. He pounced, he put the ball away, 6 yards away. West Ham 4, Larnaca 0. They lead 6-0 on aggregate.
Sporting coming forward once again outside the penalty area. The shot is blocked behind from Gonçalves. Well, Arsenal have made the changes, but the momentum is not abating for a single minute for the Portuguese side. They've got another corner. It's 1-1, 3-3 on aggregate.
Yeah, they've got a big spring in their step. Sporting Lisbon, they've been very, very positive in this second half. They've got their goal back in. Now they're on the up, and Arsenal are struggling at the moment to try and get back in this game. Certainly they're a bit nervy. They're giving the ball away, and they're forcing the pressure on themselves.
So corner to Sporting on the far side in front of their fans as the corner comes in. It's cleared away, back-heeled away by Martinelli on the slide just outside his own 6-yard box as the green smoke from that flare drifts across the stadium here at the Emirates. 1-1. The Sporting fans certainly believe, their team believe, they've been the better side in this second half. They've levelled things up, and Gonçalves with an outstanding chip from just inside his own half over Aaron Ramsdale. He's preparing to take this corner, but our referee, Antonio Mateo Lahoz, has spotted something in the penalty area. He's calling Martinelli over to him to have words. Castleford lead Leeds by 12 points to 8 in the Super League. Commentary's over on 5 Sports Extra. The Sporting swing the corner in. It's cleared away by Granit Xhaka. Comes out to the edge of the penalty area. Sent back in by Sporting. Holding jumps. Doesn't quite get enough contact on the header. So clears over his shoulder. It's a high looping ball controlled by Diomande. And he'll send it back just inside the Sporting half to Ugarte, who goes all the way back to Antonio Adan. So Saka is on. Partey is on. Trossard is on. Where do we go from here? Midway through the second half, 3-3 on aggregate, 1-1 on the night between Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon, as Sporting Lisbon bring the ball forward. Here is Paulinho, interception by Partey, and Rob Holding then will send it all the way back to Aaron Ramsdale. I'll tell you what, he fizzed that back. Ramsdale had to scramble inside his penalty area. Good clearance though, over halfway, so just jumps, wins the header ahead of Saka. And Sporting play the ball forward, but won't be latched onto by Marcus Edwards, and it's all the way back with Aaron Ramsdale. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, what they'll need is they'll need Thomas Partey, they'll need Saka to hit the ground running, really try and get into this game and make a difference, because at the moment Arsenal are second best to most things that are happening on this pitch in this second half.
Goals going in elsewhere in the Europa League quarter-finals. Union Saint-Gilloise are now 2 goals up against Union Berlin on the night. 5-3 they lead on aggregate as Arsenal are dispossessed just outside the Sporting penalty area. And Sporting will try and counter over the halfway line. They go. Gabriel gets there ahead of Marcus Edwards. Heads the ball out of play. 1-1 here on 5 Live. 3-3 on aggregate. And Mikel Arteta has now rolled all the dice. It's got to be the players on the pitch. If they go to extra time, they'll get one more chance to make a change. But you look back to those enforced substitutions in the first half. Tomiyasu and Saliba both coming off injured. And that's the thing as well. I mean, we've got almost a quarter of the match still to play, and should another player go down, well, he's been forced into using all the substitutions that he's able to in normal time.
Yeah, that's the risk he's taken, hasn't it? I mean, he's made the decision with 20 minutes or so to go in the game, that he's going to make those substitutions, or a little bit more than 20 minutes, and he's going to have to hopefully have a little bit of luck that there are no more injuries between now and the end of the game. For Arsenal, they've been unfortunate tonight with those setbacks. However, now the players are on their 1-1 games. The scores are equal, and they've got a chance now. They've got to get it back into this game. They're at home. They've got to take advantage of that home ground support and try and find a way past this Sporting team.
Ball forward from Zinchenko. Trossard plays it out to this left-hand side, and Granit Xhaka, and now Zinchenko once more on the halfway line as Trossard making the move ahead of him, and Zinchenko does find him. This is better from Arsenal. Nice neat passes, good challenge by St Juste, who limps away from that for Sporting as Trincao can't keep hold of it on the halfway line, and Martinelli plays it forward. Xhaka on the stretch though, can't control, but Sporting have given it away, and here is Martinelli, decides to go it alone down the left-hand side. He's pursued by Esgaio. Martinelli checks back and just earns that little yard of space, pulls it infield to Partey, and now Zinchenko, and now holding. This is Arsenal's longest spell of possession in a good while in the second half. 1-1, 3-3 on aggregate as the ball is swung in by Saka, cleared away by Diomande, comes to Partey, edge of the area, urged to shoot, dispossessed. Sporting come forward and they win the free kick midway through their own half, and I was just looking there to see if the referee was going to get out a yellow goal. Eventually he is. Wow, it's been very quick so far when he's been booking players, but he gave himself a bit of time to think there. Sporting have the free kick and Rob Holding has the yellow card. Yeah,
I mean, the only thing I can think of, the reason why the referee's giving that yellow card is because he feels that Rob Holding's just trying to slow the play down, because he's obviously pushed forward as the centre half. I can't think of any other reason, because that's not a yellow card for that sort of challenge. And I think, sometimes that's the frustration. The referee has been very lenient, certainly in that first 45 minutes, and then all of a sudden the second half, he starts pulling out cards for really meaningless sort of challenges.
Sporting Lisbon in possession. 1-1, 3-3 on aggregate. Excellent take by Esgaio, cutting in field from the right-hand side, and they're in through the middle. Marcus Edwards, brilliant save by Ramsdale. Another big chance for Edwards in this match. And again, Arsenal's defence come up trumps. Ramsdale has done superbly there to keep it at 1-1.
Oh, it's a brilliant save. It really is, because you can see there, Marcus Edwards is through on goal. He's one-on-one with Ramsdale, and all Ramsdale can do is just make himself big, make that big block, and he does make himself huge, and he gets it right in the face. And that's why he's down now on the ground. But it's a top class save, because he's made himself so big.
Well, this is a concern for Arsenal. He's stayed down, Aaron Ramsdale. As Mark says, he took it straight in the face, and there are no concussion substitutes in UEFA competition. So it's one of those that which has been a debate, and for Arsenal's women earlier in the Women's Champions League earlier on this season. But that is the rules. That is what UEFA have decided, and so Arsenal, who have no substitutes left to make, of course, Aaron Ramsdale's health has to come first here if there are any concerns about a potential concussion. But it's one of those where objectively you stand back and look at it and you just think, Why wouldn't you have that as part of the regulation?
Yeah, it is very unfortunate. I mean, if that were the case, look, in my experience, when I've played and they hurt, getting a ball in the face really does hurt. I've never felt that I've been concussed. I've never felt that it's that bad that I'd have to go off from a ball being smashed in my face. So hopefully he's fine. Hopefully it's just a precautionary. Hopefully he's just slowed play down because obviously they're up against it. Sporting's had that big chance and they want to slow it down a little bit. So I mean, he's up now he's sitting upwards. I think he'll be fine. Look, us goalkeepers are pretty strong, mate. Pretty tough.
So he is sitting up now, Aaron Ramsdale, still being assessed by Arsenal's medical staff. Let's go back to the London Stadium and get an update from Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, 15 minutes to play here, Vicky. West Ham lead Larnaca on the night by 4-0. That's 6-0 on aggregate. The Cypriot visitors, they're down to 10 men. Gustavo Ledes was sent off just before half-time. Goals from Skamaka, 2 from Jared Bowen, and 1 for Divine Mubama, the 18-year-old, with his first senior goal. He joined the club when he was 8 years of age. He just was born around the corner from the old Upton Park. West Ham heading through to the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League. They lead Larnaca by 4-0, 6-0 overall.
Thanks, Sahel. So Manchester United through this evening. West Ham certainly heading through this evening. This one, though, still very much to be decided. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate. Ramsdale is back up to defend this corner, which Sporting plays short. Here is Marcus Edwards, who has just drawn that excellent save from Ramsdale, but really from Edwards' perspective should have put Sporting 2-1 up. Trincao won't latch onto it. Arsenal have given it away though. Gonçalves goes for goal again. Well, 25 yards that time over the bar. When you've scored from the best part of 45 yards, you might as well have a go, but I'm not sure he'll be able to repeat the feat. Sporting's top scorer, and it's behind for an Arsenal goal kick. Mark Schwartz.
Yeah, this one was on his left foot, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that it was a bit more difficult for him. But it all came about because of Ben White. Arsenal win the ball back. Ben White gets the ball. And to his credit, in fairness to him, there was no Arsenal player forward, so he has to try and retain possession, because if he knocks it long, it's just out, and you've given the ball back to Sporting. Tries to play a short pass, and unfortunately it goes straight to the Sporting Lisbon player, and that's where the shot comes from.
Arsenal want a free kick on Martinelli midway through the Sporting Lisbon half. It's not going to be given, but Sporting have stopped play because Martinelli has stayed down and they've rolled the ball out of play as Gaio. So now Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey and Fabio Vieira are coming over to the referee, Antonio Mateo Lajos, and saying, well, hang on a minute, should we have had a free kick there? How much is there in that, Mark Schwarzer?
Yeah, look, I don't think that's a free kick. I mean, he's possibly got a hand or so in the side of the head, but I don't think it's a free kick. I mean, the defender's up in the air, he's making the challenge, he's winning the header, and Martinelli's just standing on the ground in front of him. So I don't think that's a foul.
Well, he's up to his feet, Martinelli, and the ball will go to Arsenal for the throw, but you would presume they will give it back to Sporting Lisbon, who kicked it out, and indeed they do. Martinelli comes and throws it to Jeremiah St. Just, and we're back underway with Diomande inside his own penalty area. 1-1, 14 minutes plus added time to play, 3-3 on aggregate. Remember, no away goals, as has been the case in UEFA competition for a couple of years now, so it will go to extra time as things stand, and potentially penalties as the rain teams down here in North London at the Emirates on 5 Live. Sporting Lisbon in possession, send the ball all the way back to Antonio Adan, who has not been worked enough by Arsenal in this second half, as Marcus Edwards picks it up for Sporting, plays it back to Esgaio, and now to the right hand side, and Edwards once more taking on Zinchenko, drives the ball in, will ricochet back to Edwards inside the penalty area, right hand side up against Zinchenko once again, goes down to the byline, pulls the ball across, and it's into the arms of Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, Aaron Ramsdale very alert there in the near post there, as Edwards gets very, very fortunate, because his cross gets blocked by Arsenal and it just falls to Edwards, and he's able to get through and have that chance to cross the ball in, but Ramsdale's positioned very, very well.
Martinelli down again, and this time it will be a free kick for Arsenal. Good position, this central position, 25 yards out, and is Diomande going to go into the book here? The referee's giving himself some thinking time. Well, Sporting are complaining, but It's one of those where, again, the yellow cards we've seen in the second half, you would think that Diomande absolutely could have gone into the book there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's where the inconsistency comes from the referee, because that to me is definitely a yellow card. It's a clear foul on Martinelli, and one with a bit of extra oomph, let's say, and I think the referee should have given him a yellow card.
So in terms of yellow cards, it's 3 at the moment for Arsenal, 1 for Sporting. Agate is their only player in the book. Vieira, Xhaka and Holding for Arsenal. But Thomas Partey stands over this. The free kick is being taken 30 yards out, so a little bit further than we initially first thought. But they have the options here, Arsenal. Will they go for goal? They have a Arsenal wall lined up just a yard or so ahead of that green and white Sporting wall, just trying to close down those angles of view for Antonio Adan. Looking to retake the lead, Arsenal, on the night and in this tie. Free kick, Partey's one of the players over it, but it will be struck instead by Fabio Vieira, and Adan beats the ball away. Well, he watched it all the way, kept his eyes on it, and it would have had to be pretty special from there. And I'll tell you what, Zinchenko coming over to take this throw, gestures to the Emirates and says, come on, we need the noise.
Yeah, Vieira's free kick was a decent free kick, but one that I didn't expect I'd end up have really too many problems with. He elects just to parry the ball away rather than try and catch him. And it is wet, it is raining, but, you know, he was going for safety more than anything else.
Martinelli won't keep that ball inside the penalty area, and it's a goal kick to Sporting. 1-1, 3-3 on aggregate, approaching the final 10 minutes. We're heading to extra time unless we find a goal. Updates in the Europa Conference League, more goals going in the last 16. AZ Alkmaar now lead Lazio 2-1 on the night, 4-2 on aggregate. Nice 3-1 up against Sheriff Tiraspol, 4-1. That's Nice ahead on aggregate, and Anderlecht have taken the lead at Villarreal, so Anderlecht lead by 2-1. West Ham, a reminder, 4-0 up and coasting at the London Stadium against 10-man Larnaca, 6-0 on aggregate. They are heading through to the quarter-finals. Manchester United already through to the Europa League quarter-finals, 5-1 winners over Real Betis earlier this evening. So plenty of interest for the English clubs in tomorrow's European draws. Chelsea and Manchester City, of course, we'll find out their Champions League quarter-final opponents. Manchester United will be there, West Ham will be there. Will Arsenal, the Premier League leaders, be there as Adan is closed down by Trossard, and the clearance is nervy, and here is Saka, and he tried to play it to Xhaka, but it's intercepted by Sporting. Partey comes across and stops the counter-attack, and here is Zinchenko as Arsenal look to build ahead of steam. Martinelli, left-hand side of the penalty area, a couple of step-overs, plays the ball straight into the two defenders. One of them is Saint-Just. Martinelli will play it back to Zinchenko. Here is Gabriel now, midway through the Sporting half. Plays it forward, looking for Trossard. Martinelli on the underlap. Trossard plays it forward. Xhaka. Oh, is he brought down there, Xhaka? They're asking the question. It's been given as a corner. Well, Xhaka's saying there might have been a handball in there as the sliding block was made. It's been given as a corner. Well, seeing the replay, I think it's the right decision.
Yeah, it is the right decision. There's no challenge on Granit Xhaka. There's no penalty to be discussed there, and there's no way in the world there's a handball there either. So the referee again got the one right.
Yep, tidied up very nicely. And Arsenal with this corner looking to reclaim their advantage on the night in the tie here on 5 Live. Trossard it is who stands over it. The red shirts on the move in the penalty area. It's a high looping corner. It's to the back post, and it was a decent opportunity for Granit Xhaka. Gabriel was up there as well, but neither of them can really get the purchase on the header, and it's behind for a Sporting goal kick.
Yeah, I don't think Granit Xhaka is expecting to get a head on that ball. Gabriel's in front of him. He jumps up just in front of him, just misses the ball, and Granit Xhaka just looks like he's just trying to stand in a line. He's not trying to head the ball towards goal. And as we can see here in the stadium, it's 2 waterfalls that are appealing in the Emirates. There must be a design fault here.
Indeed, yes. I mean, the rain's been pretty consistent during the second half. But yes, beneath the clock, away to our right-hand side, and then just in front of us, suddenly this cascade of water just dripped down. I think there was a steward underneath that one to our right as well. I think they've pretty resiliently stayed in their chair just behind the goal. I think I would have been off. So, 1-1. 8 minutes plus added time to play, or we're heading to extra time. 3-3 on aggregate as Gonçalves swings the ball forwards. Ben White is there but can't make the contact, and Reich is into the penalty area, pulls it back. Trincao with the effort. It's blocked behind by Rob Holding, and it's a Sporting Lisbon corner. They have been very, very good in this second half.
Yeah, they have. They've been very good. They've been on the front foot. They've caused a lot of problems for Arsenal, hence the reason why they're back in this game. And I have to say, Rob Holding, again, right place, right time. Came across when Ben White couldn't reach the diag, came across and covered and was positioned perfectly for the block.
So corner to be taken from the far side. In the series up from the back, so is Diomande. It's swung in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Powerful header away by Granit Xhaka, but there's nobody up there for Arsenal. And Sporting Lisbon will have it once more. 1-1 here on 5 Live. 3-3 on aggregate as Adan clears the ball forward, looking for Paulinho. He wins the header but sends it back towards halfway. Partey picks it up for Arsenal, plays it forwards. Fabio Vieira will send it back, and now Ben White has it midway through the Arsenal half. Granit Xhaka with a little bit of space, closed down quickly but does find Trossard, who comes deep to receive the ball, and now Bukayo Saka to the left hand side. Cuts the ball to the edge of the area. Nice control by Trossard, but can't work space for the shot. Lays it off to Partey, back to Trossard. Sporting closing down the gaps well. So Arsenal go left to Zinchenko. Now in field, central to Xhaka. Back to Zinchenko once more, and now Trossard. Saka's made the run inside the penalty area. Good run down to the byline. Pulls the ball across. Oh, what a delivery. Big appeal for handball. Offside flag's gone up. Martinelli's shot it was. Now he's going to the referee. Again, it's one of these where Arsenal have got a penalty appeal. The flag's gone up. Offside's been given. But let's have a look, because that was a big shot. And it is offside against Bukayo Saka. Again, it's one of these where the officials could put the flag up. It's clearly blatant. Martinelli was appealing for the handball, but the offside decision renders that moot.
Yeah, it was a correct decision. I mean, it did look slightly offside when the ball was played through. But just a moment there, you can see Saka, it's the first time really he's been on the ball where he's had an impact on the game. He needs to be on the ball more. They need to get him involved. He sort of floated in and around. He's just not had enough possession at the moment. They need him, because when he does, that's what he can produce. A really good cross in the box. And had it not been offside, I think there would have been a penalty for Arsenal.
Yeah, brought on in the second half after Sporting found that equaliser. Outstanding goal from Pedro Gonçalves just inside the Arsenal half. Saw Ramsdale off his line and chipped him. As the ball is over the top, St. Just wins the header ahead of Martinelli. Trossard plays it forward. Martinelli's got to leave it because he's offside, but nobody's close enough to continue the run behind him. And it's all the way through to Antonio Adan, Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, they're a little bit disjointed up front at the moment, Arsenal. They just haven't got that link-up play quite right yet. Martinelli with Trossard and Vieira at the times. And then, like I said just a minute ago, Xhaka, got to get him on the ball more, get him more involved. Hasn't had enough touches on the ball since he's come on.
It's been a great tie across the two legs between these two. Are we going to see late drama in normal time, or are we heading to extra time? Here is Saka getting on the ball that little bit more that Mark Schwarzer wants to see, and the rest of the Emirates wants to see as well. Out to the right-hand side, Arsenal go, and now back to the halfway line. And just in the last couple of minutes, Sporting are just dropping a little deeper. They're focusing on their defensive work. Does that give Arsenal an opportunity as Partey lifts the ball over the top, looking for the run of Saka, picks it up right-hand side of the penalty area, pulls the ball across. There's nobody there, though. It's cleared away by Esgaio and out of play for an Arsenal throw. But again, it's a decent delivery from Saka, but there was just nobody there to latch onto it.
Yeah, it's a frustration because he makes a really good run down the right-hand side, Saka, and as the ball's bouncing in the 8-yard box, he loops it back across the face of goal. There's no Arsenal player anywhere near it to get on the end of it.
Loose touch from Zinchenko, and Sporting will pick it up with the Ugarte, but he's been dispossessed. Here is Granit Xhaka approaching the penalty area. Thomas Partey lays it off to Trossard. Again, the referee's not in a great position, but Trossard evades him, plays it out to the right-hand side. Poor touch by Saka. Trincao will bring it down as Sporting look to counter. Here is Marcus Edwards. Didn't take the ball with him. He's brought that free kick there. Gabriel's absolutely furious. Now, it might well have been contact from Gabriel, but he's done well there, Marcus Edwards. He knew he'd lost control of the ball. He saw Gabriel coming in, and he made the decision to go down as Sporting took the free kick quickly initially, but slow the play down towards the halfway line as they go back. They're preparing to make a substitution. Youssef Chamiti is coming on, the young forwards. Interesting to make this at this stage, whether they're just trying to run the clock down as we approach extra time. but it will be the first change that they've made in this match as they play it out to the left-hand side. 1-1 here on 5 Live, 3-3 on aggregate, 2.5 minutes plus added time to play. We're heading to extra time as things stand, as St Just picks it up just inside the Sporting half, down to the right-hand side they go, and Esgaio, he plays it back. St Just once more. You get the feeling, Mark, that Sporting are just waiting, just seeing if they will be able to fashion one more clear chance. They're not rushing it. They know that they've got another 30 minutes perhaps to push on in this game, but now they just go through the gears, get to the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, but again they go back now. Here is St Just midway through the Arsenal half, plays the ball forward. He's continued his run. St Just into the penalty area, almost finds him once again as Sporting play through the Arsenal half. It's cleared away by Arsenal. Ugarte gets a foot on it though, and now Inacio, the centre half, they have it in the centre circle with Ugarte once more, and out to the right hand side they go with Marcus Edwards. 1-1 here on 5 Live on the night, 3-3 on aggregate, and we have 90 seconds of normal time to play.
No, I mean, Sporting's been very, very good in this second half. They've definitely been the better side, and they'll find themselves unfortunate not to probably capitalise more on the possession they've had, and that's been their biggest downfall. They just haven't had enough shots on goal. They haven't caused enough problems for Arsenal's defence. And Ramsdale, yes, made a massive save when he's caught the ball right in the face, but other than that, there's not been enough from them end product. Had there been, I think Arsenal would be finding themselves out of this competition.
So here comes the change for Sporting. It's their striker Paulinho, who's coming off, and Yusuf Chermiti, the 18-year-old who made his debut this season, is on. So big moment for him, big night for him, because we're heading to extra time, and as things stands, he has 30 minutes and perhaps penalties to show what he can do. Really bright young talent for Sporting, came through their academy, and with this match finally poised, somebody will make themselves a hero this evening. As Adan clears the ball over the halfway line. 1-1, 3-3 on aggregate. We're into the final minute of normal time at the end of this second half here on 5 Live, and the fourth official stands on the edge of the pitch, ready with that ball as Sporting come forward. Here is Marcus Edwards, tried the little 1-2 with Trincao. It's intercepted by Arsenal, but they can't keep hold of possession as we enter 4 minutes of added time. Fabio Vieira dispossessed. Sporting coming forward once more. Arsenal, the Premier League leaders at the moment, fighting to take this match into extra time. It's 1-1 on the night. It's 3-3 on aggregates. Here is Esgaio down the right-hand side, interchanges passes. Now St Just has it, plays it forward to Marcus Edwards, who goes for goal, 25 yards out, curled over the bar.
Yeah, decent shot from distance there. Just got a little bit too much on it, Marcus Edwards, as it flies over the crossbar. It was too central as well. I don't think it would have caused Aaron Ramsdale too many problems. But again, it's about Sporting Lisbon being in possession, being controlled, being patient, and then trying to wait for an opportunity. That time, though, they just took it too soon, too early.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, as Ramsdale prepares to take this goal kick. It was the same as Gonçalves in a way that it just was taken unexpectedly. And it's the sort of thing that if it comes off, then again, Ramsdale perhaps unsighted, unaware, as they come forward once more with Chermiti through the middle, down the right-hand side they go now. Marcus Edwards goes down, he's glaring at the assistant. If they wanted a free kick, they're Sporting, but they don't get it. Poor ball by Xhaka. Fortunately for him, it comes back to him off Pedro Gonçalves, and Martinelli under pressure from Esgaio does well there, but he needs somebody to help him there, Martinelli. In the end, it's the referee that's helped him, but they just need more options there, Arsenal, because he was close to being dispossessed there, Martinelli, and Sporting would have been away. Yeah, I mean, Sporting have hustled really well in the second half. They've given Arsenal no time on the ball whatsoever, and every time they lose the possession, Sporting, they've been so quick to try and close Arsenal down, and they've done it very effectively. Big roar of frustration as Arsenal lose possession again, but they've got it back. Here is Zinchenko. 90 seconds of the 4 minimum added minutes have been played. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate. Here is Trossard. Sliding challenge from Esgaio, and it is a corner. Corner to Arsenal, deep in added time. Yeah, these are the moments. Arsenal haven't played well this second half. However, they can still come away with this. They need to get the delivery right, get someone on the end of it, and they could turn this game on its head and really win this game very late on. They're all up from the back. Gabriel's up there as Trossard stands over this corner. They've been second best in the second half, Arsenal, are they to find the decisive blow deep in added time? It's Trossard's delivery into a packed 6-yard box, headed away by Sporting, and the referee spotted a foul as well, and it will be a free kick to Sporting Lisbon inside their own penalty area, and we have 90 seconds of added time to play.
Yeah, you can see Sporting lined up. They were doing zonal at every player. A whole line of players lined up against that 6-yard box. Arsenal tried to make runs into the area, the danger area, and there was just a block going on, and the referee deemed it to be a foul, but it was just a bit of a missed opportunity for Arsenal. Whip that ball into the dangerous area, get someone on the end of it.
Mikel Arteta stands, hands in his pockets, on the edge of his technical area. Antonio Adan, the Sporting number 1, is taking his time over this. Clears up towards halfway. Header is won by Gabriel. Out of play for a Sporting throw. We've got 45 seconds of added time to play. I think we're heading to extra time, Mark Schwarzer.
Well, it looks that way, but you still never know.
Long throw taken by Sporting up towards Chamisi. He's touched by Granit Xhaka, but the challenge coming in from Ugarte just sends it out for an Arsenal throw, and Zinchenko will take Arsenal midway through their own half. Here is Xhaka, turns away. He was pulled back there by Marcus Edwards. It will be a free kick for Arsenal, third of the way inside their own half. 10 seconds left to play. No seconds left to play. The referee says that is that, and we are heading for extra time. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate. It's been a brilliant time, Mark Schwarzer, but you have to say Sporting have been the better side in this second half, and deservedly we're going for the full extra half an hour.
Yeah, they have been the better side by quite some margin, I have to say, and obviously they scored a wonderful goal, like a brilliant goal from just inside Arsenal's half, and caught Aaron Ramsdale out. Then another massive chance where Marcus Edwards was through one-on-one and forces Ramsdale into a brilliant save with his face. And there were other moments in the game where Sporting dominated possession. They hustled Arsenal really well. Arsenal struggled to get control of the game, trying to get out. And there just wasn't enough of an impact from players like Saka when he came on. And that's probably their biggest downfall at this moment in time, that the players that have come on haven't really influenced the game enough. Trossard, Saka, and they need to lift it for this extra time period. They need to try and dig deep, find something to try and win this game.
Yeah, those two in particular have been quiet as Arsenal's players get into a huddle. Mikel Arteta's right in the middle of it. Passionate hand gestures. Needs to convey something, because Arsenal are up against it if they want to qualify for the quarterfinals of the Europa League. We're heading for extra time. 1-1 on the night. 3-3, Aaron, on aggregate.
And we will be back with you for the remaining extra time at the Emirates. Arsenal with plenty to do. West Ham, however, are through. Job done for them in the Europa Conference League. Sal Sahi.
Yeah, they beat Larnaca by 4-0 on the night. Aaron, 6-0 on aggregate. They're through to their 6th European quarter-final. Gianluca Scamacca sent them on the way with the opening goal after 20 minutes, and it was made a lot easier once the visitors went down to 10 men. Gustavo Ledes sent off for a late challenge, on Pablo Fornals just before half-time. Then after the restart, 2 Jared Bowen goals and a first of his career for Divine Mubama. He sent West Ham through. Full-time here, West Ham 4, AEK Larnaca 0, West Ham 6-0 on aggregate.
Sahel, thank you so much. Let me take you through the rest of the round of 16 scores in the Europa League. Earlier it finished Fenerbahce 1, Sevilla 0. Sevilla took the tie 2-1 on aggregate. Feyenoord beat Shakhtar Donetsk 7-1, 8-2 on aggregate. As you heard earlier here on 5 Live with Ali Bruce Ball and Rob Green, Manchester United beat Real Betis 1-0 on the night, 5-1 on aggregate. Juventus, they beat Freiburg 3-0 on aggregate. As you know, we're heading back to the Emirates in a moment for Arsenal and Sporting Lisbon, currently locked at 3-1 on the night. Elsewhere, Ferencváros were beaten 2-0 by Bayer Leverkusen on the night, 4-0 on aggregate. Real Sociedad and Roma is currently 0-0. Roma 2 up on aggregate, and Union Saint-Gilloise have beaten Union Ballin 3-0 to win 6-3 and progress to the quarter-finals. One more score to bring you from Rugby League Super League, and it's a big win for Castleford Tigers. They've beaten Leeds Runners 14-8 this evening. Mark Schwarzer is at the Emirates for us alongside Vicky Sparks. Mark, what do you expect from Arsenal in this first period of extra time? Do you expect them to go for it? Is it going to be an open game? Don't forget, Sporting have the benefit of having subs available to them.
They do have subs available to them. Arsenal also can make another sub now that we're in extra time, of course. I would expect that Arsenal have to try and get a grip of the game, because the second half they very rarely had control of the game. And that's something that they need to try and do, to get players like Xhaka, to get Trossard on the ball more often. They just weren't enough on the ball. They didn't have an influence in the game. There were a couple of moments when Xhaka was on the ball. He did almost create chances for Arsenal. They just need more of it in this first period of extra time.
I wonder, Mark, how many sides will be looking at the Sporting playbook from tonight and the game back in Lisbon, because they have been absolutely fantastic. Loads more action on the way, hopefully here for you on 5 Live Sport. It's Arsenal 1, Sporting Lisbon 1, 3-3 on aggregate. Let's head for extra time with Mark Schwarzer and Vicky Sparks.
Thanks, Aaron. So it will be Sporting to get us underway in this first period of extra time, playing from right to left in the green and white hoop shirts, the dark shorts, and the green and white hoop socks. Arsenal in their traditional home kit as well, the red and white shirts, the white shorts, and the red socks. It will be Youssef Chermiti, the 18-year-old, who had a few minutes to impress at the end of normal time, but he'll feel that this is the time, this is the half hour where he gets to show why he's seen as such a promising young talent. As we get underway this first period of extra time, Sporting in possession, and we can talk about what Arsenal need to do in this match, but let's just reflect, Mark. Of course they want to go through, of course they want to go as far as they can in this competition, but the last thing that they would have wanted tonight is extra time.
It is, yeah, definitely the last thing you want. However, when you're at this stage of the competition, you'll do anything to get through to the next round, and I think Arsenal, Mikel Arteta, will certainly take it if they can get through this extra time.
Antonio Adan clears away for Sporting as Arsenal win the throw a third of the way inside the Sporting half on the left-hand side. Zinchenko has it and sends it back to Gabriel. We should say as well, I mean, we're just watching replays of that Pedro Gonçalves goal. I mean, just any goal from that distance, 45 yards, best part of, just inside the Arsenal half, is great, but the execution was outstanding as Arsenal with the ball inside the penalty area. A little back heel by Fabio Vieira, and fury from the Emirates. He was trying to find Granit Xhaka on the edge of the D, and it's what you touched on earlier in the match. Arsenal guilty of overplaying at times, because the build up to that was lovely, but it's just one trick, just one flick too many, and the chance is gone. Yeah,
Vieira was in a great position. I don't think he realised how free he was in the 18-yard box from Sporting Lisbon. He could have easily taken a touch, turned and had a shot on goal. But you could argue and say there was not enough communication for it. But he tries that flick, like you said, and it gets easily intercepted by Sporting Lisbon, and they clear the danger. Here come Arsenal down the left-hand side. 90 seconds played in the first period of extra time. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate as Arsenal win the free kick. Chermiti committing the foul just inside the Sporting half. Now Gonçalves has gone down here. He's stretching out his left leg. He was receiving a little bit of extra treatment in the break between normal time and extra time, and this will be a concern for now. They're making the signal, the universal substitution signal. Both hands rotated, and he was clearly in some discomfort, wasn't he, at the end of normal time, and it looks as though he's tried to start extra time. He won't be able to. He scored a magical goal that's got Sporting level in this tie, but his night is done, and that's a blow for them, because it's not just the goal he scored, is it, Mark? It's his overall play has been outstanding. Yeah, his work rate's been exceptional in that midfield for Sporting. He's been a real workhorse, and he's got obviously that quality. That finish was sublime. So he will be missed. However, you can see it's clearly cramped. He's struggled with the intensity of the game, and they're going to bring some fresh legs on. Yes, another 18-year-old, Dario Asugo, who turned 18 only on Tuesday. He holds the record as Sporting's youngest debutant. Made his debut a few days after he turned 16, and now, a few days after his 18th birthday, he comes on to try and get the better of Arsenal in this Europa League last 16 tie. And they have also brought on
Nuno Santos, who we mentioned earlier scored that exquisite Rabona against Boa Vista at the weekend. So another that certainly has a bit of class in front of goal as Thomas Partey picks it up for Arsenal. Out to the left-hand side they go, but Granit Xhaka is dispossessed by Sugo. And Sporting have it just outside their own penalty area. Here is Diomande under a little bit of pressure, sends it back to Sporting's goalkeeper Adan, and they clear up towards halfway. Here's Trincao, easily dispossessed by Ben White, feeds it forward, just too much on it for Fabio Vieira, and you hear the howl of frustration again around the Emirates, but that was unfortunate for White.
Yeah, it's just fine margins, isn't it? I mean, Ben White does really well, reads a play well, dispossesses the Sporting player, wins the ball in a really good position, looks to play a simple straight ball to Vieira and just overhits it.
So Sporting coming down that right-hand side. Arsenal win possession, but they've given the ball away, and here is Chamiti, nicely worked down the right-hand side as Sporting play it in and win the corner off Zinchenko. Well, he's wanting the offside there, Zinchenko. We're appealing for the goal kick. Either way, the decision goes the way of the Arsenal player, and it's Sporting's turn to be annoyed with the officials. Ricardo Escaigo waving his hands around.
Yeah, but it's been a positive start to this first half of extra time from Arsenal. They've had a bit more possession. They've been in the Sporting Lisbon's half. They put a bit more pressure on. It's just again that final pass, that last pass, that straightforward one. It was a simple pass from Ben White. Fabio Vieira was in a really good position just inside the 8-yard box. Could have easily have turned, run onto it, and had a shot on goal. It's just those little final details that are missing at the moment.
So long clearance from Aaron Ramsdale, headed away at the back by Inaceo for Sporting, and intercepted by Asugo, but will be connected by Rob Holding, and Arsenal have it midway inside their own half. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate, 5 minutes gone in this first period of extra time here on 5 Live. Quarter-final draw is tomorrow. Manchester United will be in it for the Europa League, Champions League. Interest, of course, for Chelsea and Manchester City. West Ham through to the Europa Conference League quarter-finals. Will Arsenal be joining that quartet? Here is Rob Holding just outside the Arsenal penalty area, sends it back to Aaron Ramsdale, plays it out to Partey. Again, the nerves around the Emirates as Sporting really pile on the pressure, but they've dealt with it well, Arsenal. Send it out to the left-hand side, and here is Gabriel, urged to play the ball forward quickly, squares it instead to Partey. Now Zinchenko, who's come into a central position, plays the ball over the top, looking for the runner Bukayo Saka, and Saka will chase, and Saka won't get there. It's cleared out of play, but he can't prevent the ball going out for the Sporting goal kick either.
I think Thomas Partey was probably the coolest man in the stadium at that moment in time when Arsenal were playing out at the back. There was a couple of passes that were really whipped in with pace, just dealt with it very, very coolly and very calmly. Great touch, layoffs, and Arsenal played their way out of danger very, very comfortably.
So goal kick for Sporting. And Adan is taking his time over it. Diomande will clear the ball long over halfway up towards Chamiti. He's tussling with Rob Holding. Beautiful control by the 18-year-old. He's forced back into his own half, and that's a terrible ball, and it could be a goal for Arsenal. Trossard into the area. Adan, brilliant save, hits the post on the deflection and cleared away by Diomande. What an opportunity for Leandro Trossard. What a save by Adan.
Yeah, it's a really big opportunity for Arsenal. Trossard is through on goal. He's got the goalkeeper to beat. He looks to go to the goalkeeper's right-hand side. As he tries to play it across, the keeper just gets enough on the ball as it ricochets off the post, back out, and Sporting clear the danger. What a chance for Trossard.
Well, it's the ball from the 18-year-old Dario Asugo straight to Trossard. Huge opportunity for Arsenal. Huge save by Adan, and you have to credit the Sporting players as well for getting back and just sliding in to try and put Trossard off as he took the shot. But it's one of those, the save can go anywhere. It bounces off the woodwork for Arsenal. What an opportunity. And we've seen two big one-on-ones, haven't we? One, well, they're both at the same end because Sporting were attacking that end in the second half of normal time, but one for Marcus Edwards, one for Leandro Trossard. And both times, Mark Schwarzer, the goalkeepers have come out on top.
Yeah, that's a massive save from Antonio Ardan. Huge save because he makes himself big again. His right arm is out straight and it's strong, and that's what makes the save and puts enough on it to prevent it from going in the back of the net, hitting the post and bouncing back out. And he's got his teammate to clear the danger. Big moment of the game.
8.5 minutes gone in this first period of extra time. It's still 1-1 as Thomas Partey is dispossessed by Ugarte and played back by Nuno Santos. Sporting inside their own half. Over the halfway line now they go. Lovely turn by Trincao. Plays it out to the right-hand side, and Marcus Edwards approaching the penalty area. Esgaio on the overlap. Edwards tries to curl the ball in. It's cleared away by Gabriel. And the ball is out of play for a Sporting throw, almost level with the edge of that Arsenal penalty area. It is a game where the momentum in extra time is really swinging that pendulum from one end to the other.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's not the first time that Marcus Edwards has got himself in that sort of position. He does exactly the same. He goes one way on the edge of the box, turns back inside on his left-hand side, on his left foot, and looks to try and curl it into that far post. And this time Gabriel, the stock standard save we see these days, or the block we see, hands behind the back, legs spread out, makes a big block.
Well, collision here, and I think collision is perhaps the right word, between Thomas Partey and Gonzalo Inacio. And the free kick has gone the way of Sporting Lisbon, 30 yards out, central position. I mean, Partey does block him off there. So it is a correct decision. And Arsenal are going to make this final change. And it's the captain, Martin Odegaard, will replace Fabio Vieira. And I think that will be a welcome substitution, because Vieira, as the game's gone on, his control of the ball in possession has just got sloppier. It's not been his best night. And this man, Martin Odegaard, so popular at the Emirates, and all the big guns are on now. They are, and Odegaard, obviously huge expectation now coming on the pitch to try and grab hold of the game, get Arsenal back in this game and making sure that they can go on and win it. He's got big responsibilities, he's got big shoulders, and he's done it in the past, and I hope he'll do it tonight as well. Free kick for Sporting, lifted in by Nuno Santos, headed away by Granit Xhaka, and no mistake whatsoever with Zinchenko. Up to halfway with the clearance, Ugarte heads it forward once more. Xhaka gets his head on it, and it's picked up by Thomas Partey as Arsenal come forward over the halfway line. Forward to Odegaard, immediately into the action, feeds Saka, up against Nuno Santos, goes down, flag has gone up. It's another offside. It's another offside. I mean, that wasn't really a penalty appeal for Arsenal in truth, but the number of times that's happened. Yeah, no, he's just straight offside. He's made the run originally, then he tries to slow himself down because the ball wasn't passed to him. Then when it finally was, he was just that little bit still in an offside position. But he didn't win the race to the ball anyway, and he actually, I think it was anything, Xhaka probably committed the foul in the box. Well, I said in the first half that the offside flag was Arsenal's worst enemy in this game. I mean, really, all the decisions have been right. Yes, the flag's been delayed on most occasions, but it's one of those where they've just not timed those runs correctly. Arsenal on too many occasions, and what could have been good opportunities have gone begging. 3.5 minutes plus added time to play in this first period of extra time. It's still 1-1 on the night. It's still 3-3 on aggregate as Come On Arsenal rings around the Emirates. Good closing down by Martin Odegaard, and it's Odegaard now who waves his arms and circles his hand above his head and says, come on, bring the noise. And the Emirates responds, because Odegaard has responded. Odegaard's come on and given them an energy that's been lacking ever since half-time as Sporting, under pressure, clear the ball out of their penalty area. Yeah, he has. I mean, he's had that one moment where he's got the ball in an advanced position. He looks to try and play that ball through. And as a Sporting Lisbon player goes down, I think it's Chamati has gone out holding his leg. The referee's actually waving his arms at him, telling him to get up and stop trying to con me into giving him a free kick. Very passionately. He was very aggressive there, the referee. As Arsenal come across, Ben White gets the interception and Aaron Ramsdale clears that away. Not sure Arsenal really knew what was going on there, but the referee certainly vociferously telling Chamiti to get up, and we play on as Odegaard has it on halfway. I think it was a moment there where the referee actually forgot the game was still playing, and he stopped mid-stride towards Chamati and then turned around and thought, oh God, the game's still going, I better go and referee this game. So Gabriel in possession, but it was a reaction, wasn't it? It was a reaction to Ødegaard and the way that he's been playing. It was a reaction to the crowd. Gabriel went flying in. Yes, he didn't concede the free kick, but that's what one player coming on can do, and that's what happens when the Emirates gets to the sort of noise that we have heard this season.
It has, and I think that's what they've needed in this game, Arsenal. They've been a little bit sluggish in this, certainly in the second half of the game. Sporting have really put them under pressure. They've played well, Sporting, and Arsenal have needed something. Obviously, the substitutions are hopefully for them going to work, but they also need the fans to really lift the house.
Here they come with Trossard. Granit Xhaka plays it forward. Martinelli scoops it out to the left-hand side. Zinchenko's ball in. Saka's in there. Cleared away by Sporting. Partey wins the header, 25 yards out. Here is Ødegaard, who has made such a difference since coming on, the Arsenal captain. Scooped forward by Ben White. Saka keeps it in on the right-hand side. Gets a deflection. Arsenal throw deep in Sporting territory. 1-1, 3-3 on aggregate. Well, Sporting have the luxury of being able to really use these substitution opportunities in extra time, and they're making another change here. Arthur Gomez is coming on. Trincao, the former Wolves man, is coming off, and it just takes a little bit of the momentum out of what Arsenal have been building here as they look to see this out now. Sporting to half-time. Arsenal have won the corner. Ødegaard taps Ben White on the head. This is the impact that Arteta would have wanted to see from Saka, from Trossard. Ødegaard's done it in one.
Yeah, he has done it really well. I mean, you can see Granit Xhaka is having a bit of an altercation with some of the Sporting players in the box there. I think it's actually with the goalkeeper, Adan. And there's a bit of verbal going on, players in between. The referees there calling Granit Xhaka over. I'm not sure. I mean, Granit Xhaka, I think, has been booked, so he has to be careful.
Yeah. So we're into 1 minute of added time. Arsenal have the corner. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate. And Granit Xhaka in lengthy conversations with referee Antonio Mateo Lahoz. So Arsenal preparing to take this corner from the right-hand side. There's a little knot of Arsenal players, about 5 red shirts, just to the left of the penalty spot. Now they advance towards the 6-yard box as the corner is swung in, and the header is over from inside the 6-yard box. What an opportunity for Rob Holding. He really attacked that, but he got underneath it. That's a big chance for Arsenal to retake the lead on the stroke of half-time in extra time.
That's a huge chance for Rob Holding. He has to score. He's what, 4 yards out, 5 yards out, ball whipped into that near post. Saka hits a really good cross into it from the corner flag, whips it in the near post there. Rob Holding times it to perfection, just cannot control the direction of the header. Should be in the back of the net,
but it's not, and we're still level in the Europa League last 16 as Ben White clears the ball away, and there is the whistle for half-time in extra time. 15 minutes to play, or we're heading to penalties. Mark Schwarzer, which way is it going?
Oh, too hard to call at this stage, but obviously Arsenal definitely a better performance in this first half of extra time. Sporting obviously finished the game far stronger. They looked the side that might go into the extra time with the momentum, but they haven't quite been at it as they have been in that second half of normal time. Arsenal, I think the substitutions, certainly Ødegaard coming on in extra time, has made a big difference. He's just always available. He wants the ball. He's happy, just that one-touch, two-touch ball. He's also happy to take the ball and make something happen, and I think Arsenal have missed that in this game.
What twists, what turns will we see in this final 15 minutes, or will it be the drama of a penalty shootout? Half-time and extra time, Aaron. It's still 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate.
Vicky, Mark, take a moment, because I reckon we're going to have a frantic last 15 minutes in this Europa League tie. Let me give you the other headlines from this evening's football. Manchester United are through to the quarter-finals of the Europa League. It was a 5-1 aggregate win over Real Betis, a 1-0 victory in the second leg. That saw Erik ten Hag's side through. West Ham are also through to the Europa Conference League quarter-finals. They beat Cypriot side AEK Larnaca 6-0 on aggregate, 4-0 on the night. The draws for the Champions League, Europa League and Europa Conference League all take take place tomorrow from 11 o'clock in the morning. All the reaction to tonight's games will be available on the Football Daily on BBC Sounds later tonight. We also have a new episode of Euroleagues out on the Football Daily feed. Gigi Salmon is joined by Julien Laurent, Mina Rzouki and Christophe Terreur. They discuss the success of Italian teams in the Champions League. Here we go then. Let's have another 15 minutes of nail-biting commentary for you Arsenal fans. I'll hand you back to Mark Schwarzer and Vicky Sparks.
Thanks, Aaron. Underway then in this second period of extra time. Arsenal in possession and immediately attacking down the right-hand side. Here goes Bukayo Saka. Tried to pull the ball into the area. Partey's effort flashes across the face of goal. Hit it from the edge of the penalty area.
Yeah, it's a tough one for Partey because he wants to get on his right foot, and in doing so he has to try and get his body around the ball as the ball comes from the right-hand side, and he can't get around it enough, and he just puts it quite comfortably wide of the goal. Real no pressure on the Lisbon goal.
So Sporting play out from the back. Immediate pressure from Martin Odegaard. What an impact he's had. It's impossible to overstate how much he's changed the energy on the pitch for Arsenal. And I'm sure that's something that Mikel Arteta will be asked about regardless of which way this match goes. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate as Sporting play the ball out to Esgaio on the right-hand side. Good header won by Gabriel on the halfway line. Spins out of play for a Sporting throw. Arsenal in their traditional home kit, Sporting in the green and white hoop shirts, the dark shorts and the green and white hoop socks. Take the throw over the halfway line. It's over the head of Zinchenko and up towards Youssef Chermiti, the 18-year-old. Little foot in from Gabriel. Decision goes the way of Arsenal. It will be a throw, which Zinchenko will take. So Arsenal with Ramsdale in goal. The back four of White holding Gabriel and Zinchenko. Ahead of them, it's Partey and Xhaka with Saka, Odegaard and Martinelli supporting Trossard up front. Arsenal still taking this throw with Zinchenko in field to Granit Xhaka, who got things underway for Arsenal in the first half. Pedro Gonçalves with the outstanding equaliser in the second, lobbing Aaron Ramsdale from just inside the Arsenal half. But this man is coming forward once again for Arsenal. The captain, Martin Odegaard, plays it forward to Granit Xhaka, out to the left-hand side now, and Martinelli. Trossard's in the centre. Martinelli plays it to Trossard. Down to the byline he goes, gets the ball across. Odegaard was in there, tried to hook it across goal. Bounces out of play for a Sporting Lisbon goal kick. Sporting with a down in goal, the back three of Sanjus, Diomande and Inacio. Ahead of them, Esgaio, Esugo, the 18-year-old who's come on, Ugarte and Santos with Edwards, Gomez and Chermiti, also 18, up front. It is a very young Sporting Lisbon side, and they've given a very, very good account of themselves. They've been the better side in the second half, but Arsenal really finished that first period of extra time strongly. Can they recapture that momentum? Can they find a breakthrough? Or are we heading for penalties? Xhaka loses possession. Little ricochet is kind, though, to Gabriel, who sends it all the way back to Aaron Ramsdale. Clears away from Chermiti. Arsenal, of course, have hit the post in extra time as well through Leandro Trossard. One-on-one with the Dan, who saved brilliantly. Marcus Edwards in normal time had a one-on-one of his own with Ramsdale, who also saved, unorthodox with his face, but it did the job. And Arsenal, over on the right-hand side, have a throw deep in Sporting territory, level with the edge of that penalty area. 3.5 minutes gone in this second period of extra time. It's 1-1 on the night. It's 3-3 on aggregate. In field to Gabriel, Arsenal go now in the centre circle. Forward to Thomas Partey. Has the option out on the right-hand side of Ben White and will use it. In field now to Zinchenko, taking up that central position and lays it off to Gabriel, and it's Arsenal's turn to just patiently try and drag Sporting out of their various defensive structure. It's Holding, who's missed that big headed chance at the end of the first period of extra time, plays it forward to Odegaard. And now Ben White on the right-hand side. In field to Zinchenko on the halfway line. Plays it forwards to Martinelli. Closed down by Esgaio, but Martinelli manages to play it forwards to Xhaka. Arsenal will keep hold of it now with Partey, central position. They're advancing methodically towards the Sporting penalty area. As Saka has it on the right-hand side. Infield to Ødegaard, tried to play it through to Saka. Saka will get there to the byline, pulls it across, but couldn't quite get the purchase on the cross. The ball was just in front of him from Ødegaard, and Adan claims, but the clearance is intercepted by Zinchenko just inside the Sporting half. Here is Thomas Partey, central position, plays it forward to Ødegaard, tried to slide it through to Trossard, and Adan comes out well. And between he and Diomande, they allow Adan to gather. Mark Schulze.
Yeah, you can just see the massive difference since Ødegaard's been on the pitch. He's been involved in everything. Both those plays there, Ødegaard was very much in the thick of things. He makes Arsenal tick. He's the creative spark that they've missed in this game, and they're going to hope that he can continue to do this in this last sort of remaining sort of 10 minutes of this extra time.
Still level in this Europa League last 16 tie. Forward it goes to Ødegaard, who under pressure from Ugarte does well. Sends it out to the right-hand side. Saka is down. Saka wins the free kick. And Ødegaard just pulls up that captain's armband and gets things moving quickly. Sends it to Gabriel. And now Zinchenko. Arsenal still inside their own half. But it's been a better second half of extra time this for Arsenal. For too long they lost control of this game. They allowed Sporting to take the initiative, but Ødegaard's introduction in extra time has changed that, and you get the sense now that it will become more and more backs to the wall for Sporting as we approach a penalty shootout. Here is Xhaka in field to Leandro Trossard, out to the right hand side now, and Ben White as Saka as an option, hugging that right-hand touchline. Here is Bukayo Saka taking on Nuno Santos, plays it in field to Ødegaard. He tried to slide it through to Trossard, cleared away by Sporting, but it's just the vision that Ødegaard has, isn't it, to try and pick those passes, and they are so nearly coming off.
Yeah, it's just the give and go. His positional play, always in those pockets, finding that space, and always loves to just always making himself available for that next pass.
And here he is doing exactly that. Receives the ball from Bukayo Saka, and Ødegaard with a little drag back on him there. Really, that should be a free kick to Arsenal because he kept playing. Sporting then get the block in, and they have it down by their own corner flag on the left-hand side, but could have gone down there, Ødegaard, and didn't. So might feel a little bit aggrieved as Chamiti plays for handball, not given. Good sliding interception by Martinelli as Arsenal bring it forward again. Holding is ended up in central midfield. Loses out though to the young 18-year-old Dario Asugo, who almost was Sporting's downfall, playing the ball straight to Trossard in extra time. Trossard drawing the save from Adan, the ricochet taking it onto the post as Gabriel is penalised for a foul on Marcus Edwards, and it will be a free kick to Sporting just inside their own half. Mark Schulze.
Yeah, you can see Gabriel as he commits the foul on Marcus Edwards. He's on the ground. He actually just taps the ball into Marcus Edwards' side, and the referee actually laughs. And I think Gabriel's laughing, and then the Sporting Lisbon managers obviously bemoaning the incident, and the referee just wasn't having any of it. He was just laughing about it.
Ball over the top was looking for Arthur Gomez, who hasn't really had a touch since coming on for Sporting. The ball is cleared forward, but Sporting have a player down, so there will be a little pause in play. Manchester United already through this evening on 5 Live. West Ham through in the Europa Conference League. Quarter-final draws tomorrow. Chelsea and Manchester City. We'll find out who they get in the Champions League last day. Draw for the semi-finals for all three competitions will be made as well, so the teams will know their path through, potential path through to the final. As Gonzalo Nacio gets back up to his feet, and Arsenal are ready to take this throw. Midway through the second period of extra time. 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate here on 5 Live. As Gabriel picks it up in the centre circle. Zinchenko is an option to the left-hand side, but he goes right instead, square to Thomas Partey, closed down by Chamiti. Partey finds Trossard in a bit of space. He was caught there, Trossard. Advantage is played. Partey sends it out to the left-hand side. Trossard's still down. Martinelli has it on the left wing. Pulls it back to Zinchenko. And now Martinelli wants more. Sporting marshalling Arsenal well. They've got 3 players to Arsenal's 2 out on that left-hand side. So Arsenal go back in field. Trossard is belatedly eventually up to his feet. He's now coming to the referee and saying, well, why didn't they get the free kick? The referee says a played advantage, and Arsenal have worked it nicely down the right-hand side. Here is Ødegaard. Tries to play it to Saka. It's just in front of the England man, and here comes Sporting, trying to burst over the halfway line, but Asugo is well closed down, stopped in his tracks, and Arsenal have the ball once more.
Yeah, Sporting have clearly just sitting back deeper. They're dropping down. They're trying to absorb the pressure and waiting for an opportunity to hit Arsenal on the counter-attack.
Here comes Granit Xhaka. Good turn outside the penalty area. Feeds it into Martinelli. Pulls it back in. Trossard is in there. Can't get the shot away. And it's cleared away at the back by Diomande. But Sporting, as Mark Schwarzer says, are dropping deeper and deeper and deeper. Can Arsenal find a way through? Here is Zinchenko. 1-1 on 5 Live. 3-3 on aggregate. Rob Holding. Sporting again drop deeper and deeper, camped outside their own penalty area. Gabriel has it infield to Zinchenko. He's looking for players to make the run. He's looking at Trossard. He's looking at Martinelli. He squares it instead to Gabriel. Ben White's screaming for it over on the far side, and Arsenal do work it over with Partey. And now here is White, has Saka in front of him. Ødegaard in field, dinks it over the top looking for Saka. Saka will get there, closes the ball down on the byline and picks it up. Now plays the ball across, deflects to Trossard inside the area, tried the little drag back. He got the ball caught under his feet. That's why he didn't want to take the shot. He tried the drag back, looking for Granit Xhaka, but Arsenal again, the fans getting so frustrated. Somebody just hit the ball inside the penalty area.
Yeah, Trossard found himself in a really good position in the 18-yard box, but he just didn't, that first touch, like you said, gets caught underneath him. And he hears the call from Ødegaard, who tries to make the run behind him, so he flicks it behind him, and it just goes straight to a Sporting player.
Late challenge by the youngster Asugo, and it will be a free kick to Arsenal. Decent position this. Best part of 30 yards out, just about level with the left-hand side of that penalty area, and Gabriel Martinelli is picked up by the referee, who pulls him to his feet. I think the referee's quite enjoyed the pace of this game. Wanted to keep flowing, keep continuing, but decent set-piece opportunity this for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's in a good position, and obviously Ødegaard on the ball, left foot. He's going to look to curl it in to the danger area, the danger zone. He's going to need runners onto it. He had a quick word with Gabriel just before he walked over to pick up the ball to place it for a free kick. So maybe there's a set play that they're going to work on. You can see Arsenal players are all huddled outside the own yard box.
So what are they trying here? They now break away, moving to the edge of the penalty area. Ødegaard swings it in left-footed. He's looking for the far post. What a save from Adan. That is absolutely outstanding. Big, strong hands. Punches the ball over the bar. Well, it was a training ground routine, and it almost worked to perfection. We've seen some top saves this evening, but that from Gabriel's header is absolutely top-notch from Antonio Adan.
Well, everything about it was absolutely brilliant, from the delivery to the header to the save. Unbelievable save from Adan.
So 3 minutes of extra time to play. Arsenal with the corner. The players are gathering at the back post. Now they drift into the 6-yard box, but the ball does go to the back post, and it's headed, and again Adan makes a fabulous save on the goal line. What a period of extra time the Sporting number one is having. A Sporting counter, and here they come with Arthur Gomez down the left-hand side. Danger here for Arsenal. It's stopped by Gabriel. Can Arsenal counter themselves? Advantage is played. Ødegaard skipping the challenges on the halfway line, eventually is brought down. Yellow cards is brandished by the referee. 2 yellow cards are brandished by the referee for 2 separate challenges, and it's a second yellow, and it's a red. Sporting are down to 10. Well, everything was happening there. It was a very heavy challenge initially on Thomas Partey. The yellow card was brandished. Eventually, as the challenge went in from Ugarte, that's the initial challenge. It's Saka, in fact, he absolutely flattens him. The referee played advantage because it was a good opportunity for Arsenal. So Ugarte has shown a second yellow. He's sent off. Sporting are down to 10. Arsenal have a free kick for the second foul. Goodness me, it's all happening at the end of extra time.
Yeah, it's a big challenge there, Ugarte. It was a clear clear, blatant, very late challenge on Saka there, and the referee, it wasn't a red card, but it certainly was the second yellow card, and he had to go. Very, very late challenge, and Arsenal were off as Odegaard was on. He was actually by himself up front, and he gets fouled as well. The referee was just waiting for a moment to try and hand out the second yellow card.
So amidst all of that, Sporting have made another change. Matteo Tanlongo has come on for Marcus Edwards as we approach penalties. But Arsenal, with this free kick against the 10 men of Sporting Lisbon, Odegaard drifted into the penalty area, and for once this evening, the delivery is poor from the Arsenal captain, and it's behind for a Sporting Lisbon goal kick.
Yeah, really wasted opportunity there for Arsenal. You can see, we're just watching the replay again. I actually think it's a clearance off the goal line by a Sporting defender. It wasn't actually Adan who made the save. It was a last-ditch defending on the goal line.
Yep, Diomande, good spot mark. Diomande from Gabriel again, winning the header. Last-ditch defending. It's been superb in extra time for Sporting as Chermiti turns on the halfway line. The 18-year-old loses the ball. Another free kick is given for Arsenal, and there's real frustration on the Sporting Lisbon touchline as the youngster Dario Asugo is penalised, and the referee was over straight away to speak to the Sporting backroom staff, and we might see a yellow card here, although cards at the moment has taken the pocket. But he certainly takes charge of the situation, doesn't he? He's very vocal as the boos go up for the 1 minute of added time at the end of extra time. The Emirates feels there should be more, and you have to say, Mark Schwarzer, we've seen a red card, we've seen stoppages. You could argue that, yes, there should be more extra time at the end of this. And also, Arsenal fans demanding it because they really are on top at the moment.
They are. It's going to be a long free kick from Aaron Ramsdale now. He's going to look to launch it long.
Launches it to the edge of the Sporting penalty area. Header on will find Odegaard. And now Partey as Arsenal are forced back. Here is Bukayo Saka out to the right-hand side. He goes. He's got 3 players with him, so he pulls it back. Odegaard plays the ball in. It almost goes all the way through to Gabriel, but Adan will claim, and that will almost be that. We've got seconds to play in extra time. It looks like it's going to be penalties here at the Emirates as Adan bounces the ball on the ground. 1-1, 3-3 on aggregate. It's been a pulsating second leg. It's absolutely lived up to the drama of the first leg. And it looks as though we are to have more drama as Adan clears the ball straight out of play. Referee looks at his watch, and there is the full-time whistle. It is penalties. It will be the first penalty shootout at the Emirates since Arsenal moved here 17 years ago. Which way is it going to go? Will it be Arsenal? Will it be Sporting Lisbon? It's been a cracking time. Mark Schwarzer.
Oh, it's been absolutely brilliant to watch and to commentate on. I tell you what, it's been a real mixture of both sides having their real go at it and trying to win this game. Sporting Lisbon, obviously, in the second half were far better. We're on top. And then it was from the start of from the extra time, it's been basically all Arsenal. And Arsenal could have very, very easily have won the game late on with 2 really big chances from Gabriel and only last-ditch defending on the goal line and also from the goalkeeper. Absolutely brilliant. Adan, massive save, and that could be the moment. But now it comes down to some would say, the potluck of a penalty shootout.
We're going all the way, Aaron. We've had the twists, we've had the turns. Who will be the hero? Who will be the villain?
Hey, we've had it all, Vicky. What a night in the Europa League. Manchester United through earlier on, but Arsenal are going to have to do it via penalty shootout. And we talked about him before, Mark Schwarzer. Aaron Ramsdale, full of the joys after winning Goalkeeper of the Year at the London Football Awards this week. He's going to have to earn his money now.
Well, he talked about it in that interview that you had with him about becoming an Arsenal legend. This could very much be the beginning of it if, he plays a big part in the penalty shootout. But you know what? The pressure is all on the kicker. The goalkeepers are there to try and make that small, minor details make the difference. And Aaron Ramsdale certainly has the capability of doing that.
We've sent iPads before and files and bits of paperwork which goalkeeping coaches are quickly thrusting into the arms of their keepers. But what is going to be going through the mind of Aaron Ramsdale and Adan, the Sporting keeper, as well?
Well, knowing obviously the magnitude of the game, knowing what's at stake They would have gone through a lot of the video footage of each of the teams, their players, penalty takers. They would have prepped for this very much so. Be very interesting to see whether any of them actually do have something written down. You see both goalkeepers being spoken to a lot by their goalkeeping coaches. I can see now the Sporting Lisbon goalkeeping coach has grabbed a piece of paper out of his pocket. We'll see if he hands it over to the goalkeeper. And I think it really is down now to the goalkeeper, bit of feel, but also that knowledge of having watched footage of the penalty takers previously.
You never needed a shootout on your run to the final back in 2009-10, but did you have the bit of paper ready with your goalkeeping coach at Fulham just in case?
Yeah, of course. We always knew what the potential was and who the potential penalty takers would have been, and there was always an iPad ready and waiting to go at the end of the game if we needed to really refresh our memory as to what was going on and who were the normal penalty takers.
I just wonder, Vicky Sparks, we're looking at our pictures now here in the studio, and it looks clear. I'm just wondering what conditions are like in North London.
Yeah, it's dried up. It's been raining for much of the second half, but it's pretty much cleared up now. So obviously there'll still be the moisture on the pitch, but I mean that's something these players are so experienced with, isn't it? You know, something that they've got to cope with, and you just wonder. I know Mark was talking before the match about the internal monologue almost that Aaron Ramsdale has during a game to keep himself focused. I wonder if that continues into penalty shootouts as well.
Well, who knows? I mean, obviously he's not too alone when it comes to a penalty shootout. There are a lot of people around him, so it's a case of now being focused and about, you know, knowing, remembering who the penalty takers are, what sort of direction they generally go. But then some goalkeepers just want to know, have seen the footage, but then react on instincts at the time. So it does vary between goalkeeper to goalkeeper.
Any ideas on where the penalties are going to be taken, at what end, Vicky?
Well, they're all lining up in the centre circle, but unhelpfully they keep facing one way and then the other. But it looks as though the way that all the players are turning is it's going to be the end where the Sporting fans are. Now, they're not quite behind the goal. They're to the left of the goal, but certainly, if that is the case, that's a boost for Sporting Lisbon. But as we say, right behind the goal, in terms of the fans that can wave behind the goal and try and put the players off, it looks as though it will be the Sporting players, although their two captains are just coming together now, so whether they're still doing the toss into, which would explain why the players are turning one way and then the other, so let's see. But Adan is walking to our right, to that side of the pitch, so Aaron Ramsdale follows him, and this is the moment, Mark, isn't it? This is the moment as a keeper. I mean, when you were involved in penalty shootouts, did you relish these moments? Did you dread them as it ticked towards extra time? Did you, other than wanting your team obviously to score a winner, did you start thinking, I could be the hero here?
I don't think you ever think about wanting to be the hero, or you will be the hero, or could be the hero. I think it's more about, of course, you wanted to try and win the game in normal time. I was more than happy to win the game very, very late. Didn't matter as long as you won the game. Once it comes down to penalties, obviously you know you have a bigger part to play potentially, and then you do your best to try and have an influence on the game.
So it will be Sporting to take the first penalty. Aaron Ramsdale is just getting himself ready. The Sporting Lisbon prepare to get this penalty shootout underway, and it will be the centre half, Jeremiah Saint-Just, who had that brilliant run in the first half that almost managed to put Sporting ahead. Aaron Ramsdale bouncing on his line. First penalty of the shootout for Sporting. It's a brilliant penalty from Saint-Just. It's into the roof of the net. Mark Schwarzer, no goalkeeper in the world is saving that.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal penalty. It really is. He's picked his spot. He's hit it with a lot of power. Aaron Ramsdale's gone the right way. He's close, but with that power and that pace and the direction, it was very, very difficult and too good.
Speaking of too good, this man has been too good since coming on. Martin Ødegaard, the captain, who galvanised Arsenal, but to no avail in terms of scoring in extra time, takes the responsibility of Arsenal's first penalty up against Antonio Adan, who's made some outstanding saves this evening. It's Ødegaard for Arsenal. It's cool. Adan goes the wrong way. Big punch of the air from Martin Ødegaard, and he waves both arms and he says to the Emirates, raise the noise once more, because it's 1-1 in the penalty shootout.
Yeah, he just oozes confidence, doesn't he, Ødegaard, when he steps up there. Never looked like a doubt in his mind that he was going to miss that. Very cool, very calm. Like you said, sends the keeper the wrong way, and it slots it into the left-hand side of the goal with ease.
So the second penalty for Sporting will be taken by Ricardo Esgaio. It's a short run-up. Ramsdale's bouncing on his line. It's Esgaio. It's a great penalty into the top corner. Right-hand side. 2 out of 2 penalties for Sporting. They lead Arsenal 2-1. Arsenal have taken 1 fewer penalty.
Yeah, you can see clearly Aaron Ramsdale, he wanted to wait. He didn't go early. He waited he standing up on his feet, and he waited for the shot. And it was just too much power, and it wasn't far from it at all, but he just hit it with such force.
So here comes Bukayo Saka. Every single Arsenal fan in this stadium willing this time for there to be success from the penalty spot for this man. It's Saka up against Adan. Short run up from Saka, and he rolls it coolly into the bottom right-hand corner. Adan went the wrong way, and there's joy and there's relief for Bukayo Saka and Arsenal. It's 2-2 in the penalty shootout.
Yeah, very good goal, very well taken penalty from Saka there. He does a couple of quick movements with his feet before he runs up to the ball, and as he does it, he just whips it into that right-hand side of the goal, keeper the other way. Very cool, very calm.
So now the centre-half, Gonzalo Inacio, steps forward for Sporting. 2 out of 2 penalties for both sides so far. Inacio, and Ramsdale almost saves it. He gets a big 2 hands to it, but the power from Inacio takes it into the net. And I tell you what, Mark Schwarzer, the entirety of the Emirates thought that one wasn't going in.
Yeah, look, I thought he saved it as well. He's just gone down a little bit too early. He's just not sprung high enough in the direction of the height of the ball. He's just let himself fall. Not enough of a push-off from Ramsdale. He's guessed it right. He's done everything right except that final bit of execution.
Well, he's grinning, Aaron Ramsdale, as he hands the ball to Leandro Trossard. But that's it. As a keeper, it's gone. You've got to focus on the next one. And Trossard has to focus on this for Arsenal. This to level the penalty shootout up at 3-3. Trossard looks to the heavens. Adan stands motionless. It's Trossard. Oh, and Adan got something on it, but it squirms past his grasp. That's 2 penalties in a row that the keepers will feel they should have kept out, but they haven't. Trossard scores, and it's 3-3.
Yeah, very fortunate, I think, for Trossard. Goalkeeper Antonio Adan, I think, was a little bit slow in reacting to his left. I think the dampness of the pitch definitely helped Trossard to allow that ball to skid through into the goal.
So Arthur Gomez, off the bench, steps up to take the 4th Sporting penalty of the shootout. All penalties have been scored so far. It's Gomez, and Ramsdale almost gets there again, but it squirms under his grasp. And now we're getting to the real make or break part of this penalty shootout, because Sporting lead 4-3. Arsenal have taken 1 fewer penalty.
Yeah, he's hit it with such pace again. That was the problem for Ramsdale. This time he's gone actually a little bit high, Ramsdale, instead of throwing himself down low. Look, it's easy to talk about it from here. It's easy to watch on the replay. And they're the fine margins. They're the fine lines. It's so tough for the goalkeeper during penalty shootouts.
So now the responsibility falls on the shoulders of Gabriel Martinelli. It's a long run-up. It's central. Adan once again stands motionless. It's Martinelli, and Adan makes the save. It was too central from Gabriel Martinelli, and Adan makes the first save of the penalty shootout, and it's advantage Sporting Lisbon at the Emirates.
Yeah, it's a big save from Adan, really massive save. Obviously puts now Sporting in the box seat. They score this, that's it, they're through. What a moment, big save.
They've been flawless so far. If they can keep that going, they'll be through. And the responsibility falls on the shoulders of Nuno Santos. The responsibility is on the shoulders of Aaron Ramsdale. It's Santos. It's brilliant. It's Sporting Lisbon through to the quarter-finals of the Europa League, and the European dream is over for Arsenal this season. They lose on penalties at the Emirates.
Yeah, it's a fantastic penalty to win the game. It really is. He's in it with such pace and power into the corner. Gave Ramsdale gain, who went the right way. Zero chance of making the save. And Arsenal will definitely look back at this as just a missed opportunity. Too many chances in this game they let slip.
And in terms of a missed opportunity, Mark, it's a missed opportunity in terms of performance as well, because they allowed Sporting to wrest the initiative away in the second half, and although they improved when Ødegaard came on in extra time, it was simply too little too late.
It was, yeah. I mean, look, Sporting Lisbon did hang on at times, and they needed their goalkeeper done to make some big saves late on in that extra time, and you do ride your luck at times, but they will definitely look back at this as a missed opportunity. Penalty shootout, they are pot luck, they are down to those finer details. Sometimes that luck is a big part of it. In this occasion, Sporting Lisbon's penalty takers were too good.
Well, we said before this match, didn't we, the chief dream this season is the Premier League for Arsenal, and that dream is still very much alive. But the European dream is over for another season. It finishes 1-1 on the night, 3-3 on aggregate, Sporting through 5-3 on penalties.
Well, what a game. Mark Shorter and Vicky Sparks. Mark, I'll come to you first. A match